Now at the estate, our Savior Jesus Christ, we come to you today and thank you for this rain that we had recently, dear Heavenly Father, and thank you for it not being as severe as it was predicted to be, dear Heavenly Father. Much needed rain, and continue to bless us with this moisture, dear Heavenly Father, so we can avoid these grass fires that surrounding in our community. Bless those firefighters, emergency responders that go out on these calls, dear Heavenly Father. Be with those that have lost their homes, dear Heavenly Father. Homes, livestock, property, dear Heavenly Father. Be with all them and give them a good blessing, dear Heavenly Father, on behalf of all of us, knowing that they're in our hearts and in our thoughts and prayers, dear Heavenly Father. Be with our Pawnee Nation, dear Heavenly Father, as we mourn the loss of our loved ones and our tribal citizens, dear Heavenly Father. Continue to lift their names up to you and give them strength and all the encouragement and support that they need, dear Heavenly Father, so they may take care of their loved ones. Ask you today to be with us as we continue on with the business of the Pawnee Nation so that our citizens can continue to be and have that knowledge, dear Heavenly Father, of what we continue to provide at the nation, dear Heavenly Father, and the services afforded to them, dear Heavenly Father. Now be with us, continue on before our day, dear Heavenly Father, go before us and let it be good in all ways. Ask you all these things in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
At this time, we'll do roll call.
Misty Nuttall,
Here.
Jordan Canuho,
Here.
George Gardapi here, Carol Chapman,
Here.
Cynthia Butler,
Here.
Donna Hare, Gene Evans,
He's excused.
Sammy Kimball.
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Item number 3, approval of agenda. Is there anything needed to be
I haven't received
edited,
any.
additions?
I haven't received any changes.
If no changes, I entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Secretary Gardapi, second by Vice President Canuho. No further discussion. We'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare, Sammy Kimball. Sammy Kimball?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, at this time, we have item number 4, Business Council travel requests. Do you have any travel requests? Yes.
I never did get the information on the tax conference. What are the dates on it? Did you mention there was one that was coming up this month?
There is one, I believe, next week. That's the one that's in Phoenix.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
The 4th through the 6th. Okay. If no travel requests, we'll move on to item number 5, project updates. Item number 1, infrastructure project. Who will be reporting?
Hello, council. I guess I'll speak on this one today regarding the infrastructure. I know there's been a lot of things that's been in the works across the nation. So task force has been heavily working along with some of the folks that we've been doing so and getting a lot of things planned for just our recent meeting at the end of the month with the retreat. But we submitted a grant kind of looking at the land use plan for A&A. We submitted that on behalf of the nation. We're still waiting an announcement on that, but that's really going to take lead on addressing some of the things that we've talked about in several meetings with council and developing a zoning plan for the nation, as well as some of our other stakeholders, and looking at kind of planning some land accordingly. So as we develop, not just now, but for the future, we have kind of some allocated, roughly allocated plans or not plans, but property that we can, build around. With the IHS and courthouse renovation, courthouse renovation is almost done. The courthouse has been completed. They've been moved in. Courthouse has, or the enrollment building is almost done, which it's almost, we just got a few things with the IT, and they should be moving in and next week to move enrollment over there. So most recently, IHS drive-through garage is getting almost completed. I think what we've been doing a lot is doing a lot of interior and getting the driveway, curb and gutter poured and things like that. So a lot of it's been kind of the sheetrock, mudding and taping, and some of the interior painting has been completed with that. But with the enrollment moving in, those two projects will finish up and they would be completed. Continue working on the water and sewer infrastructure, looking at those, working on a couple grants to get some of that addressed. We are putting another proposal in to kind of help with the climate resiliency grant that will kind of help expand some of our water infrastructure, put new fire hydrants down Catholic Road, kind of expanding those because I know we're building out that way. This is the opportunity to kind of mitigate fire risk and things like that as we develop down Catholic Road and around IHS. During this quarter, they've been working on the TIP, which is Transportation Improvement Plan. I know that's been out for comment for 30 days, but looking at addressing some of the things within our nation, but extending out and looking at 39 bridges that will be in collaboration with Pawnee and Payne County, getting some of those bridges taken care of. And that's going to benefit a lot of our tribal members, especially some of the students that, the buses have issues getting to and certain times when we have weather issues and things like that. So this is a way that we can get new bridges for that. Continue working on the 5 megawatt solar project. I know we had an RFP go out. We had 2 individuals submit for that. We're still going through the review process and hopefully have some interviews set up in the following weeks. But this is going to definitely get the 5 megawatt solar project behind Rome Chief and some training opportunities for our folks on the implementation side of things, on the construction side of it. So a lot of folks can get their solar certification and things like that. The resiliency grant, that's still in continuation of planning. It's a 5-year grant, but what we're looking at doing is just really looking at ways that we can prevent outages. One of the biggest things that we would like to do, especially with our campus, is moving a lot of our electrical lines overhead underground. So just working in collaboration and building that map out, seeing what that cost is and seeing what that would look at. And then we'll have some other funds to provide some training, as well as looking at some weatherization projects that can kind of, on these older buildings, if that's requiring some newer windows and things like that, we can start planning for those things. Let's see, we got the REP grant. I know there's a lot of things that we've been working along, getting the sensors set up in some of our tribal buildings, as well as some of the housing things. So, but more in depth is really looking at the oil wells that we have here, working with BIA, BLM, and seeing what that is, and not only working along with Freedom Energy, who actually leases those. How do we convert those over and start, experimenting and start studying how those oil heads can be transferred over to geothermal, which we're working on a lot of that. So we've had several meetings with BIA, what that looks like, what Freedom Energy needs to do on their side to transferring that over, notifying BAA, and kind of setting up a lease with us of trying to figure out how that management side of things looks like, so we can start studying those oil wells and seeing what the possible usage for geothermal would be. So got that. We're still working on the interconnection with Southwest Power Pool. That just takes several months, so that's still in works. Reconnect 3, Reconnect 4, a lot of that we're still waiting to hear back from USDA regarding the issues with Osage TIPO. So we're waiting to hear back from them so we can schedule a meeting with them. Most recently, we had to get some documents changed because I know there was some change with our partners with Sovereign Banks. So we've been working with USDA, getting a lot of those documents converted over and having it updated with their current acting president at their bank. Let's see. I think on the solar agrivoltaic grant, that's still in works, working with along with OU and Pawnee Nation College, of looking at how we can integrate solar with our cattle and growing crops around that. I believe they're wanting to have a meeting maybe the next week or so to talk a little bit more about that. So that's still moving forward with that, and then looking at some new opportunities with the steel manufacturing facility, as well as looking at some of this carbon capture objectives with some of our existing oil wells, not just here, but throughout our jurisdiction, how we can repurpose those and have an additional revenue source coming into the nation, and looking at ways that can kind of benefit us. And then most recently, we did get awarded the Tribal Energy Development Capacity Grant, which that's going to extend a lot of our utility authority and encompass them to kind of, oversee and regulate some of our utilities. I know we do some, but this is a way that as we're expanding out to certain businesses coming here, looking at potential developments with other projects, if that's housing or whatever, this kind of gets them have them the ability to make sure that they can regulate, bill, and collect accordingly to those. Let's see. I think that's kind of it. We got some things that we're still working on, like most recently strengthening our infrastructure plan. I know we worked with Amy Wilson, getting that kind of scheduled this quarter. It was good that she was here this week to kind of help, and that was a successful meeting. We were able to talk about newer things, kind of ironed out and dive a little bit deeper on the current projects that we had. And that's kind of it for right now on the infrastructure.
Are there any questions for Brian on the infrastructure project? I have one. Can you speak on the becoming emergency management? Is it resource agent? It's in the report, EMRA.
Let me see that one. I can follow up with you. I don't know really much.
Okay.
What I think what that is really
Emergency Medical Response Agency for an ambulance service.
and I'll follow up with Chris. I think that's kind of like taking a little bit ownership, being a hub for that for our area, and that would kind of allow us to have some federal funding to kind of support some of that and be kind of that main hub. But I'll follow up and make sure that I'm correct on that. I think this is kind of new, so I don't know too much about it, but I could definitely let you know by next week for sure.
Okay, and one more is the Shakopee grant. Was that submitted?
Not yet. That will probably come out this month. it's at its final stages. I know we had a meeting. I know Carol was there, and I'd met with Herb last Friday, seeing if we had a point of contact just to get some information from Shakopee, and just kind of fine tuning that proposal. But talking to Herb and talking to others, it's just been a while since we had that funding. So, we kind of lost those contacts, because when I went back and looked at some of the emails that I had, it was way back from 2022. So knowing that, we're going to just go ahead and submit it, just fine tune a few things. So we'll probably see that Shakopee grant probably going out probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, to my best knowledge.
Okay, and then final question. I know in one of the calls, the behavioral health calls that you had mentioned about reaching out to the language for the rooms in the facility, did you get in contact with them about that?
Yeah, I mean, we can dive into behavioral health. I didn't talk much on the behavioral health yet because I saw it down in the agenda later. But yes, I reached out to them. Matter of fact, I talked to Herb last Friday, but they are working on it. And I gave them, because we need that information to be sent out by the 15th. So I emailed Taylor and Gibb if they can give me some information by the 8th, and then that following week, if we have any questions or need clarification, we can answer those, and then have that being ready by our deadline to get all that. But I've been talking to them for a few weeks now, and they're just kind of going back and forth and collecting that information that would have best words for those facilities. I had kind of tell them they got overwhelmed at first because they thought it was every single room. And I was like, no, it's not every single room. It's just more like the community rooms and dining halls, more the social rooms is what we were kind of looking at, or any ones that you see kind of keywords that would fit. They're welcome to name those as well. So I'll again follow up with her early next week, Monday or Tuesday, just to check in. But talk to him Friday, and he's going to get with Taylor and them.
Any other questions? If not, we'll move on to item number 2, energy project. It's kind of vague. I don't know what energy project we're talking about.
All the energy projects, I'll Alex oversee those, and then on.
Morning, everybody. This is Lyle. I don't know if this is where I'm kind of getting bits and pieces in terms of what's being said, but I can talk about, I know Brian, or I presume that was Brian, or maybe that was Lee that was speaking on the previous topic. And I'm a little vague in terms of myself, in terms of exactly the energy project we're speaking about, but I can go through very quickly what we shared in terms of the updates. And maybe some of this will be a little bit repetitive from what was previously discussed. But as you know, the Reconnect 3 and the Reconnect 4 projects are the broadband projects. I believe that was spoken about. What we anticipate in these projects at this point is a release of funds probably within the next 30 days on the Reconnect 3. Reconnect 4 will be pending after that. Once we have released the funds, we would expect to be able to move pretty quickly into a summer start of construction next year. Briefly running down the rural energy pilot project. This particular one, I know that I think I heard some discussion around that the wells are being reviewed. I'm seeing that my scrolling is keeping here. Okay. Not sure. Is everybody seeing my my screen here?
No, we don't have a projector.
Oh, you
It's
don't have
just
to-
sound.
Okay. All right. So the rural energy pilot project, that one we're going through some well evaluations. There's the geothermal system RFP is really kind of the next piece on our list. That'll take care of the HVAC entrances design. And that's presuming that with the well integrity testing comes back as a positive on the 2 wells that we've been looking at. We have we're moving forward with the data sensor deployments. We have roughly about 100 signups under that within the community. That includes the energy sensors and thermostats. And so we fully expect that we'll reach the full 160 once we start deploying the energy thermostats in this first 100. And I'm sure the community will probably, then word of mouth will spread, and we'll probably have a demand for actually more than we have available. We did get in the solar for the 150K solar, which is part of the project. We did get the RFP back in. That is under review. And then we're looking at the larger community power accelerator, which is the 5 megawatts. And that one is currently going through the MOU process, and we're working with Pawnee Nation staff to complete up the bylaws for the cooperative, along with membership agreements, et cetera. And, so that would be something that would be pending out there. We also, part of the RFP process under the REP, did basically get some costs back for the 5 megawatt facility. There are other things that we hadn't reported on, but I was recently out in Tulsa at American Made Network Challenge presenting on the various projects, of which Pawnee Nation is participating in some of what we're doing, and has provided letter of support for a lot of what the areas are. And part of that is a technology incubator. We've got that starting up in the Tulsa center. And then that is actually spinning out into a variety of different opportunities where we're looking for direct air capture pilot, which potentially could utilize some resources and bring new revenue streams, new manufacturing opportunities, and create new jobs, within Pawnee Nation. So we'll be definitely coming back to working with staff, and then hopefully coming back to the business council here to present what we see as a forward-thinking proposal that can bring in, potentially new data centers into the region as well. We made contacts with Microsoft and others, and some large data centers that are looking to, find places. So to provide support for, in today's world, the artificial intelligence processing. So I think that there are a tremendous number of opportunities out there, and obviously we're focused on projects that we do have in hand as well. So, but they're all progressing. Some, I would say this is the rural energy pilot project. Would have been nicer if it would progress a little bit faster. Same with the broadband. Broadband was really held up by a long period of environmental review, which now we're, continuing on with the Reconnect 4. So that's a quick update that I have for you all.
All right, thank you for that. Does anybody have any questions on the energy projects? I know we did have a call just this last week regarding the Tribal Utilities Commission, or LLC, that we're trying to develop, or that we're initiating for development. And they had asked Brian to speak on some of the other energy projects that we had. And he also informed them of, I believe it was kind of like a follow-up to the solar, that the solar feasibility that was done in 2020. And they said that they had rolling dates on their grants, and that some of the projects that he had spoke about would also be eligible for that same similar grant, but also another grant as well. And so we were just looking at passing along that information and hoping that we can get some of these other projects that are in the works, some funding that's been available to us. But they were really excited and looking forward to hearing what other plans the nation has. They looked like they were willing to, I guess, continue dialogue to partner in some of these endeavors. So just throwing that out there as well. And he did say that we could apply still while we still have this active grant that's just kicking off. I'm going to throw this out there to you, Brian, with regards to that, because that brings up a question that Councilwoman Kimball had when I reported on that grant kickoff meeting that we had. Do you recall the amount that we applied for an amount and then we only received $150,000? Do you recall the amount that we didn't get funded?
Yeah, let me pull up my calculator. I think we submitted around 263, give and take. So that was a deficit of around 113, 115K that we didn't get funded. So,
And as a part of that, the funding agency noted that, and they asked that we submit a scope of work that matches that amount that we were approved for. So we're not tasked with doing something that's beyond the scope with limited funds. So that's in the works right now, and that will be forwarded to the funding agency for approval. If no further questions, we'll go on to item number 3, behavioral health facility.
that would be, I donated my computer, so I'm trying to do everything on my phone. So, all right, so with the behavioral health, so right now, construction-wise, everything's going as planned, still on target date to be the end of February. What you see now in the most recent quarterly is to just kind of final up some of the utilities right now with some of the water, electrical. And most recent now, we just started engaging with our low voltage IT team, Texaco. So they're going to start working on, and they're usually the last people that come in once you look at utilities, because they just need a small kind of window to set up like the badge, cameras, and some of the fiber optics that will be going to certain rooms. But most recently, it's just been putting up a lot of the walls, putting up a lot of that. So you kind of now starting to see the true definition of the rooms. Got our coolers in, our freezers in the kitchen. We got some of the kitchen equipment on site, just not installed just yet. But you're starting to see some of those big items come in, and we're putting them to the side. So when we get closer of finishing up with the drywall and stuff like that, we'll start installing some of that. We've been kind of working with the FF&E, which is kind of our furniture and equipment stuff. That would look at the furniture for the individual rooms. I'd be looking for furniture on these offices and things like that. So finalized that, got that order put through Thompson Construction, and looking at what that delivery date will be. As we're moving along, that probably won't be installed until February, but it does take some time to, acquire all that, build some of that equipment and stuff like that. So you probably won't see a lot of that furniture coming in until about January. So let's see, we did have a town hall meeting on September 11th, which was a good turnout. So big takeaways of that is really looking at some of this supplemental services that is going to be built around our clinic. I know adolescent needs was a huge topic then, but it gave us an opportunity to kind of like start developing this out, looking at phases, and making sure that some of our outpatient services address the needs with our community, especially on the adolescents, and then start building upon what that looks like on the residential side of it for our adolescents. That's something that we want to expand to down the road. But we also got a chance to determine the name. So the name of the facility is Pawnee Nation Behavioral Health. So knowing that, we were able to get some placeholders and start looking at the web design. We're moving to the branding, acquiring a domain name so we can set up the website and things like that. So the domain name is going to be pawneebh.org. But don't Google it now because it's not there yet. But that's just what we have in place as we moving along with that. But after that, we'll be able to start getting equipment, setting up computers, printers, and phones once everything gets kind of to the stage of start moving staff in there. Let's see, the biggest things that we've been working on behind the scenes is really looking at the billing, the licensings, and the EHR build out. You know, we want to make sure that our EHR is adequate and making sure that it's has a great way to report and share some of those health records to IHS directly without creating interruptions. So really looking at the interface and how that, you know, interacts with IHS successfully. So we've been in talks with IHS, a couple tribes that have EHR. How do they, what are they using, and what's been kind of the processes of what they do on their health records of sharing some of that information to IHS. Got a really good idea of what that looks like. There's a couple that we're going to continue vetting, but knowing what we got some information from Mr. Coffee from Iowa Nation. He was a big resource that kind of helped us gather some information that's going to play a valuable role in identifying that EHR program. Let's see, we're working continuously on the licensing aspect of it. The target goal to submit our license with the state of Oklahoma is January 20th. Knowing some of that, some of the services are going to be phased in. You know, we're going to be moving into kind of a smaller scale, but, you know, as we are operating through our temporary license and then get our full permanent license, then you'll start seeing a lot of services open up to its fullest needs. So identifying that, we'll probably look at, you know, outsourcing some of the kitchen responsibilities, because that's just an extra step that's going to be required, because then the state has to come and do a kitchen inspection. So what we're going to look at doing and saving some of the costs during a temporary license is set up vendors to kind of help pay some of that. On the billing side of it, you know, we've been in talks with Oklahoma Health Care Authority, and knowing what they were telling us and how that interacts with them on the O&B rate. We did get some good information, because we were thinking, what could we as a nation bill for the non-beneficiaries? But being a federal facility, we were able to recoup 75% of our O&B rate that we typically receive for natives for our non-natives. So that's going to help us on our pro forma and getting a lot reimbursement rates higher than what we were originally thinking with those folks. Let's see, we've been we do have an art competition still going on. Just want to highlight that. I know our substance abuse program has all the supplies, so if anyone's interested in still participating in that, I think March 14th is the deadline to submit all your art supplies. But they have everything that if you're interested, they can supply some of the basic canvases, art supplies, paint, or pencils, whatever you're interested in, whatever your niche is. They have those supplies that can kind of help get some of that stuff. We're still got that going on. We have a site visit with Osage Nation. They just recently in July did a ribbon cutting of their residential, and they're interested in Pawnee Nation because they do more of the residential inpatient side of it, but some of the services they don't provide, like detox, we do. So they're already looking at utilizing us as a partner for some of those services. So we'll go and check out their facility, see how they operate, how that could benefit us, strengthen some of our programs, and then kind of talk about some opportunities where we can create a partnership on some of their clients that need services. let's see, you got the hiring timeline. Not going to dive too deep in that. That's in the report, just kind of looking at what some projected dates in the fourth quarter. I know y'all, we talk about a lot what's been going on, but also wanted to provide some timelines, some information for the future, what you'll see in the fourth quarter and early spring of next year. So just as we start checking off a lot of boxes, these are kind of the scope items that will be forthcoming as we move on. We continues looking at the pharmacy side of it. We do got a meeting with IHS to look at that. And then outside of that, I think that's it.
Any questions for Brian on the behavioral health facility? When on that site visit with the Osage, is that next week or did that already happen?
No, it is the 13th at 2 p.m.
November 13th.
We felt like we would meet with the corporators maybe that morning, maybe around 9 or 10, just following up our meeting that we have on the 8th. If there's additional questions, maybe meet the morning of the 13th, talk for an hour or so, and then everybody goes to lunch. And if you're interested, we'll drive to Pawhuska and do a site visit there for 2 o'clock.
We can get a calendar invite on that, so we can get that on the calendar.
I'll do that now.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have item number 4, Irida Tuta Kitsasu Initiative. Select online. Does anybody have questions? A report was submitted. Hearing none, if we have any questions, those can be forwarded to Brian and he will get them to Electa.
Just on a side note, I know we talked in our weekly meetings. I know we still want to set up a meeting, if that's another council meeting or if that's just an evening meeting, to allow Electa just to go more in depth and talk about some opportunities with some council resolutions that we would look at, maybe present to council if council is interested in supporting that, of going back and looking at getting some continuation funding from the federal government to support programs like this. I know we're kind of like those pilot programs, and there's only 6 that actually got permanent funding, but those 6 with the 20 that are kind of pilot programs, we're all kind of developing that working relationship so we can go back to Congress to get more permanent funding for nations all throughout the nations. But we just kind of dive a little bit deeper of just what we're doing here, but also present that opportunity if council is interested. It's a draft form, and y'all can take a look at it if that's something that y'all be willing to support. I think that's due at the end of the year, at least that resolution. But I'll get more updates and just kind of fill you in on Monday.
Okay,
But,
and Vice President will get with you on scheduling that with the work group.
okay, thank you.
Okay, next item we have is item number 5, tax update project. Is Mary available?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good
All
morning.
right, good. And Noah, good morning, everyone. It's good to be able to present today. I apologize, I'm not in person. As you know, my national tax conference is starting, so I am on my way out to Phoenix. So I'll begin with, it's been a couple of months since I've been able to visit with all of you. So I just kind of put it together as a quarterly report. Just did some updates on the step 1 and phase 1 of where I had begun and where I'm at today. I think the most important thing that is going on over at the tax is that there are a lot of things that need to be brought up to date. I think a lot of the way that things are being done in the office is needs to be, I'm trying to, what I did was I went in and I visited with the tax, how they're doing their tag program. I spent a whole day in the office with the staff. And there's, number one, that office is so little. There's a lot of things that need to be restructured in there, not only to make it more productive, but the way that things are being done, it's a little archaic in there. So I have put together a whole recommendation on how the department could be brought up to speed, make things move quickly, more efficiently, and it will help with all of the, files. There's no need to have the files that they have in there. It's going to be, once we put all of this together, and I meet with the manager once again, which I plan to come in this month quite a bit. I'm going to do a complete inventory, look at everything, how it's structured, how they're keeping track of everything. And I think once we put all of that together and I can get them back on track and moving in a more efficient direction, I think you're going to see a big difference there. That's just something that I'm going to do to help. As far as looking at the code, I've worked on the code. There are a lot of changes that need to be done in there. I have put together my phase 1, and I'm going to present that to the code committee this month, and hopefully be able to present that to council to make some code changes so that we can move forward. I know that right now we're working without a tax commission, the board. So the recommendation that I'm going to present is to restructure how the commission was put together. I have wrote complete policy and procedures that I will present. Of course, this is all up to you, how you want to move forward, but these are going to be my recommendations to try to have the tax commission and the tax department work together more efficiently and move things forward. I know that in reality, bringing back the commission is going to take some time. So once I do meet with the code committee and present it to council, then it'll be completely up to leadership how and when you'll bring them back. But we will have it in code and law. I will be working with the AG as well. Would like to have some recommendations from the AG as we move forward too, as I'm restructuring this code and adding in some of these more defined policies that we can put in there to help the nation as you move forward. One of the, I think one of the challenges is that as I move forward is to work. I know that Pawnee Nation is a little different on how you're structured in running your tobacco side of the tax department. You have a different entity outside of the tax commission itself that does licensing and controls the smoke shops on that end. So as I move out of this phase 2, and I am almost there and I'm almost ready to start working on with the external offices that do the licensing, I also want to start meeting with the tarot department to see how they're running and planning, so that we can make sure that the tax department is being a part of that conversation, that there's communication flowing all through the nation, so that as we're moving forward on projects, and I'm hearing different projects just in this meeting that are happening, how Tarot is moving forward, how they're connecting with these, with all of these plans that are out there as far as construction and any projects. And that's where the tax commission should be working hand in hand with Tarot and economic development to make sure that our taxes are where they should be, that we're not missing any opportunities for the nation to collect these taxes, these fees that should be accounted for in all projects and things that are going on. So we just want to make sure that as you're moving forward, that we are covering every aspect of opportunity for this nation. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and really getting these recommendations to you. I've worked real hard on them to make sure that we haven't missed anything. I want to make sure that as we move these codes forward, that we are covering everything so that, you know, when I am completed here with you, that that code is ready for your tax department and the nation to be able to assess taxes, collect taxes, and to make sure that the tax department itself is generating revenue and continuously growing. As you move forward with taxes, I know that, you know, you have to continuously study and make sure that every project that's going on and our smoke shops keep up with the laws. And I'll touch on that here in a second, but we want to make sure, and as leadership, you want to make sure that whoever you have in that department is progressing, is growing, and bringing things to the leadership continuously, so that we are continuously growing. There's so many things that change. We have tax credits that are being brought on almost every year. I'm working with TTAC and the U.S. Treasurer and as the national chair, and we've, you know, we meet and look at all the opportunities that are coming across. So there are several new tax credits coming out. So I want to make sure that, you know, Pawnee Nation is aware of all these opportunities and make sure that our finance department is working along with tax too, so that, you know, whoever your tax administrator is in this department, that they are well educated in just keeping up with all the trends in taxation, because it changes so often, and we lose opportunities and we gain opportunities. So with all of these challenges with tax, we want to make sure that we're staying, you know, abreast of everything that's going on. And as the national chair, I will always continue. I'll try to keep Pawnee Nation in the loop as we move forward on things as well. I know this year's conference is going to be excellent. We have Bloomberg coming in that's going to do an announcement on some things that are going on that we're not even aware of. I'm excited about hearing that. So I'm glad that Pawnee Nation will be represented there so they can hear these things that are going on. There's opportunities and VITA. So these are just things that I want to make sure that leadership is aware of. I'm sure that, you know, your tax manager gives you reports. So, but I do want to touch on that real quick just to bring it back to the forefront here, so it's fresh on your mind. That remember that December 31st is the last day of the Tobacco Compact extension. So I want to make sure that leadership is, you know, reminded of this, that you're going to have to make some decisions on how you're going to move forward with tobacco, whether you're going to, you know, sign a new compact or not sign one. That's completely up to you and your decision. But I want to make sure to remind you that this is November, beginning of November. So we're looking like 60 days out. So, you know, the tax manager should be getting with you to have these discussions and look at all, and, you know, because there's some things, if you decide not to compact, there's some issues there. If you decide to, you know, sign a new compact, there's issues there too. So all of these things need to be talked about. And I wanted to update you on the car tag issue. You know, a while back, there was some tribal members and citizens being pulled over and given tickets. And none of them, and I'm sure that you know, none of them were ever processed. They were all denied or dismissed. right now, there is really no movement on that, other than we have had some discussions at the state capitol. And OTA is trying to find a way to read the VIN numbers on the windshield to be able to go back and try to get information on our tribal members' vehicles. And so they're looking at some remedies for this. Whether it can be done or not, I don't know. This is just something that they're talking about. These are some discussions and talk that's going on. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of all of that. At NCAI, they did have a meeting on car tags. I wasn't able to attend. I was at another meeting, but really, I don't think too much came out of that conversation other than what I'm giving you today. So I know they're going to be setting another meeting soon for everyone to just keep up with the discussions. And I'm happy that, you know, the Oklahoma Tax Association is keeping up with that. You know, I started that years ago, and I'm really glad that we were able to pull that back together, especially right now with all the tax issues going on in Oklahoma with the relationship that we have with the current governor. I know that Cherokee Nation is looking at trying to sign their tag compact. I did visit with Cherokee, and their discussions are really not going anywhere. The governor will not meet with Hoskins. So there's some issues there. They are trying to come up with a solution. And I know one of the solutions that they had come up with is that if they do sign a compact, that it would only be for, they would only be issuing tags to their membership that are within their boundaries, their 13 county boundary. And that would leave all of the rest of them at limbo. So that was a concern with Chief Barnes with the United Indian Nations of Oklahoma. He was concerned about that. So I think he's going to be pulling together a tribal leaders meeting on that to discuss some, concerns on, really, we're all just looking at Cherokee right now to see where they're going to go with this, because that will, affect how the rest of us move forward. And the governor will not sign a car tag compact unless it looks exactly like Choctaw and Chickasaw. So that's kind of where we're at. I just wanted to update you while I had you on the phone and able to talk to you. Now, in the next month or two, I'm going to be at the nation quite a bit. You'll see me quite a bit. I'm going to start working in the office and try to start getting that put together. And then after I get that complete, then we'll start reaching out with Taro and our other departments. So I'm looking forward to bringing all of this together for you. There's a lot of great opportunities that we're looking at. It just takes a little time, but I'm excited to be working with you and with the department. And I really see some good things coming ahead, and I'm looking forward to, once we have all these codes up to date, then, my final thing will be, then I'm going to present taxes to you to add to our code so that you can be prepared for growth and movement as you move forward. So that's all I have. Thank you for letting me present to you today. I apologize once again. Look forward to hopefully the next time I get to come in there and sit with you and be able to see you face to face. Thank you.
Thank you for your report, Mary. Are there any questions? No one has any questions, but I did want to comment on that call that was held at NCAI. I did sit in on that call, and there really wasn't much update. The only update that they did have kind of alludes to what you said about Cherokee Nation issuing only tags to tribal members within their jurisdiction. They had reported that the OHP in Oklahoma is circulating the memo that was from, I can't even remember, I want to say 1997 or something, the one that referenced that car tags were only to be issued to members residing in the tribe's jurisdiction. I don't have the exact memo in front of me, or else I could send it to you, but if you'll remind me, I can let you know exactly what memo they were referencing to. And it cited the Sac and Fox Nation case, of course. So that's probably why Cherokee Nation is alluding to issuing only the tags to their tribal members currently.
Yes, that was way back in the beginning when they first started issuing tags. That was what had come from the state. And I'm going to go back and look, President Nuttall, because there was also another memo that had came out after that one. And, you know, years ago, we used to put that along with the, you know, the renewals and your titles to show that the, you know, tribal tags were legal way back then, because we had so much pushback, and they was pulling tribal tags over, and just, you know, all the harassment that went on way back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so they started putting that, and I'm gonna pull that, and I'm gonna send that to you as well. And I do have that memo that you're referring to.
Yeah, I have both of them.
So
they
I'm
were
gonna
talking
go
about
back and see if I can find that. It was so long ago, but I know that because it basically said that we had you know, complete legal authority to issue our tags. I don't remember it saying within the boundaries. I think this was one that had come out after that. So I'm going to go back and just make sure. I don't want to be lying to you, but I don't think that's the same memo that I read that they put up at NCAI. So I will look at that.
Yeah, it's the earlier one. It's not the second one that came out. And also they were, I guess, waiting to see, because like I said, at this point, it was just told to them that it was being circulated by the OHP, but at that point, no one had reported any cases of anyone being pulled over still. So I'm not for sure, you know, how much they're going to pursue it.
I really don't think they will. I know that we met with several highway patrol, and they said that, you know, coming up from the top, that they said they're not going to get into this fight. If someone gets pulled over, there has to be a valid reason. They're not going to just start pulling over tribal tags to be pulling them over. So, you know, they don't have time to be doing all of that. This is just rhetoric that's coming from our governor. So, and he's pushing in that direction. And that's unfortunate. But I think that, I think our tribal members are okay, and we can start looking at other things, but we always want to keep that in the, you know, in the back of our minds, that we do have this governor for 2 more years.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mary, for your report. I hope you have a good conference. Okay, item number 6, Pawnee Nation College report.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. First of all, I want to tell you about the happening that happened this morning to me on my way here. When I left Kansas, we were having a tremendous rain, and so I was praying that it would follow me to Pawnee, but behind me, of course. And then also, right out of Scheidler, here was this beautiful bald eagle sitting in the road. And so all the prayers and the blessing that I gave to that bald eagle is lifted up, and is for the Pawnee Nation, and also especially for the Pawnee Nation College. Okay. I'll start with my report. I'm Cordelia Clapp, and I'm the chairwoman for the Pawnee Nation College. And this is a quarterly update, the division and department summary. The Pawnee Nation College Board of Trustees, we met September the 20th to the 21st for the annual Board of Trustee retreat at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A quorum was present with all our Board of Trustee members present except for Jordan Canuho. All the Pawnee Nation College staff were also present, as well as our new hire, Milena Hammes. She is the new full-time Director of Student Services, and she will also serve as faculty. Ms. Hammes is replacing Amanda Canuho, who resigned her position for Pawnee Nation College's Director of Student Services on September the 13th. Also present was Parissa Baker Nashport, accreditation consultant for our Pawnee Nation College. And Ms. Burns and Parissa Baker Nashport distributed a potential accreditation partnership packet, and it was sent out to specific accredited institutions to further the discussion for a possible contractual agreement with Pawnee Nation College as the accrediting partner institution. Several of the accredited institutions, upon receiving the Pawnee Nation College partnership packet, have shown interest in Pawnee Nation College, and several have met with Pawnee Nation College, and a few institutions have visited the Pawnee Nation College campus. Our quarterly executive summary by Ms. Burns had attended all the monthly mandatory grant management meetings and the progress with the fiber optic installation and the overall project status regarding updates to Pawnee Nation College network setup, the internet circuit, and and connection in the fiber optic installation, the estimated projected date for the setup and completion of Pawnee Nation College network and IT services is to begin at the end of October. Wyatt Technology Services has completed the fiber optic installation, and we are currently waiting on AT&T to complete the circuit. Telecom will begin setting up the computer labs and the staff workstations on the network and server. The final step with the video conferencing, setting up 3 classrooms and the computer lab in Pawnee Nation College library space with conference room distance learning capabilities. Pawnee Nation's tribal leadership and professional development learning capabilities, Pawnee Nation Tribal Leadership and Professional Development Certificate training for division directors began September the 17th. Pawnee Nation College has 3 staff members attending the division directors tribal leadership and professional development 12-month tribal leadership and professional development management training, and Pawnee Nation College next in-person meeting on Pawnee Nation College campus is scheduled with the Department of Justice Grant Project Director, Hallie White, the week of October the 15th. Marcella Stevenson and Ms. Burns will be attending the annual Indian Nations Conference for Office for Victims of Crime on December the 10th through the 13th, for the Department of Justice. Ms. Burns attended the Pawnee Nation Budget Committee meeting regarding 2025 budget call on July the 22nd. She also attended and submitted the Pawnee Nation College quarterly report July the 22nd on behalf of myself. Regarding Bacon's update, a court date for August was not set by the judge as stated at the last court date. Pawnee Nation College were currently waiting to be notified by Chad Smith, Attorney General, or his replacement when the judge sets the next court date. Ms. Burns and Dr. Chavis Ramirez met met with present on this topic. Ms. Burns and Dr. Chavis Ramirez met with Dr. Evans regarding establishing an endowment for Pawnee Nation College. Dr. Chavis Ramirez will present on this topic at the upcoming Board of Trustee annual retreat. Pawnee Nation College received a $5,000 donation from Heather Henson for 2 Pawnee Nation College interns to travel internationally with Dr. Chavis Ramirez to Yucatan, Mexico for the 2nd International Forestry Congress. Dr. Chavis Ramirez, myself, and Ms. Burns interviewed Milena Hasmanis for the student services and faculty position on August the 30th. Ms. Burns sat on the interview panel for Career Technologies Accreditation Stakeholder Interview for Meridian Technology Center on September the 10th. Pawnee Nation College received Jennifer Gover's resume for the Pawnee Nation College Board of Trustees to review and discuss as a possible Board of Trustee member at our upcoming board retreat. And she was voted in unanimously as a Board of Trustee member. And Ms. Burns attended a special invitation meeting on July 23rd with the Department of Education for comments on the next NACTEP grant opportunity set to be published in the Federal Registry the summer of 2025. She also attended the NACTEP Grantees Community of Practice Annual Performance Report Guidance on August the 14th. NACTEP External Evaluator, Dr. Minthorn, is scheduled for an on-campus visit October the 3rd for the external evaluation of NACTEP projects, Year 3, the annual performance report for Year 3, and the external evaluation report as an attachment to the APR are due on October the 31st. In the quarterly goals and objectives, we find an accreditation partnership to enter into a contractual agreement with Pawnee Nation College as their accrediting partner institution, to continue with the strategic plan aligned with HLC, which is higher accreditation criterion, to ensure Pawnee Nation College can provide evidence needed to prepare for accreditation application for the HLC, and that's the Higher Learning Commission. Pawnee Nation College Board of Trustee quarterly meetings were established, and our next Pawnee Nation College Board of Trustee meeting is scheduled for Sunday, December the 14th at 1 p.m. at the Alvin Leading Fox Hall in Pawnee, Oklahoma. And also it will be held remote via Zoom. The travel and training, President Burns and Marcella Stevenson will be attending the annual Indian Nation Conference for Office for Victims of Crime on December 10th through the 13th for the Department of Justice grant. And our financial reporting has been given to you. It's in your packets. And the conclusion is that Pawnee Nation College will continue with efforts to establish accreditation criteria to present within 2 to 3 years of Higher Learning Commission. And that's the end of the report.
Thank you for your report, Ms. Clapp. That's a very thorough report as to what's been going on or transpiring at the college. Do we have any questions for Ms. Clapp?
I do.
Yes.
I just have a question. I think it's really neat that there's going to be 2 interns taken internationally. I was just wondering, will those be Pawnee members, students that get taken on the international travel?
To
For
do
the-
what now?
Right here, it says that two interns will be allowed to travel with, where's that at? Okay.
They are going on, but they weren't. Okay.
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
They were tribal, but not from not Pawnee,
Okay.
but they were from the college.
Thank you. That's all I need to know. Thank you.
Yes, Councilwoman Butler.
I have a question. Since you guys you don't have a partner for this semester, and obviously you're still doing things, correct? You're still got activities going on for certain students or certification programs? Okay. So have you guys had a reduction in force on your staff, and how does that affect your budget going into this quarter? And if you guys don't get a partner before the first of the year, then for the spring semester, will you guys be doing? They're just questions. That's things that pop into my head because you always want to make sure you're securing your funding, and you have quite a few staff, especially that are here today. But does that affect you? Will that affect you if you don't get a partner in January and start bringing in revenues from students? No. That was my question too. It does it. Okay. Okay, just wanted to make sure, because that's concerning with, any grant funding, and stuff like that. So, thank you.
That just brought up another question too, President Nelly.
Yes, Treasurer Chapman.
Okay, I'm on the Behavioral Health Incorporators Board, and I was just wondering, as we're getting closer to opening here, how many of our Pawnee people have actually been certified to apply for the jobs that are going to come open? Are they Pawnee members?
6 in the program?
Yeah, we have 6 in the program, and 5 of them are Pawnee tribal members. And we have a scholarship that if you're a Pawnee tribal member, it's a free scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been trying to advertise to get more students in there for the medical coding and the medical assistants. So I've been trying to get people in, but yeah, it's going pretty good. So we have like 6 that are Pawnee Nation.
That are actually certified already?
No, they're in the program right now. There's
Okay.
different steps that they have to go through.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And that's through Meridian Tech.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you for your report and safe travels home. Next item we have is item number 7, Pawnee Nation Housing Authority report.
I'll do the report. Try to read the small print on my screen. I forgot all about printing it off and bringing it with me. In the third quarter for the Pawnee Nation Housing Authority, where would I start? We've been working on renovations. Our maintenance staff works on renovations for our houses. Whenever a house is vacated, then they go in and they make renovations for the next person to come in. So we've been working on 3 of those. Within the community, we have one of our elder units on Forest Street and then 2 non-NAHASD units on Park Lane and on Yellow Horse Drive, which are the one on Yellow Horse Drive. We have nobody on our waiting list. I just want to throw this out there for anybody who's watching and you need a place. This is for over income families. It's a 3-bedroom house. It's on 122 Yellow Horse. If you guys want to apply, go to our website. We're taking applications currently. We're going to put it out in the paper, but just letting people know, and like I said, it is over income. So if you make over income, then you'll be eligible. It's a non-NAHASD unit. We had one new tenant down in Littleton Edition, which is Eagle Chief Drive, and we haven't placed any other tenants in any of our non-NAHASD homes. We're still doing the Akadu News, which is our housing newsletter. We do it bi-monthly. We're getting ready for our November, December issue to come out. We take these newsletters to all of our tenants, and what it's utilized for is to inform them on events that are going on for housing, policies, any other information that the Pawnee Nation's doing that they might want to know, activities and everything else. So that's what's put into those newsletters for our tenants. We also take copies of the newsletter to the Elder Center, and then we do put some up at the Pawnee Nation. So if you are interested in just kind of what the housing's doing. We kind of keep them updated on what the commission does and also what our staff is doing. We are continuing with the REP program, or the Rural Energy Pilot Program. Our energy coordinator, Alex McSheridan, he recently got married at the beginning of this quarter, so congratulations, Alex. He's honeymooning. So we haven't seen him for a couple of weeks, but he continues to take applications. We did send out a postcard here recently, so maybe your homes have already seen it. It's to sign up for the REP program. This is the sensors and the smart thermostats. So we did have a few people, probably a good handful of people, who reached out to the office and filled out the consent forms to participate in that program. So what they are doing is they're continuing to do the 160 sensors and smart monitors and our smart thermostats, and they will be doing installation within the next couple of weeks. So we're still in phase 2, moving into phase 3. So we're continuing to do the community engagement, and so we put them in the newsletter. He's going to start having meetings with those who are signed up, and then they'll be doing the installation with that. I think we're working with the Pawnee Nation on vendors, and I think one other thing is a new trying to make sure we have enough money for the thermostats. I think that's the only issue that we've kind of come up with. So we're trying to coordinate that. I don't know much about it, but what he gave me, so that's all I can report on. So that's what he's working on right now. And he's got a lot of other stuff that's in the report. I think that we're trying to find somebody, because they were going to work with the Pawnee Nation College on the certification for the, they have a educational component within the grant that will take people for training. I'm not too familiar with that part of it, but they were going to work with the college on that, but now they're looking for their own partner. So that's another thing that they'll be working on going into phase 3 and 4. It's just getting people to go to do those educational components that are associated with this, which is going to be the workforce, training them to do, the upkeep and stuff of what they're doing, because they're doing the geothermal over on the well that's back over here. It'll kind of tie into all of that. And I'm just speaking because that's a little bit what I know, but that's some of the barriers that they're coming up that they've been dealing with. And he's still working with Shrubby Quint. We have weekly meetings, just trying to update them and then update the housing on what all we're doing. So the Board of Commissioners, they met on July 9th, August 20th, and September 10th. They meet every second Tuesday of the month. On their July 9th meeting, they approved the 2025 Indian Housing Plan and budget. And then they also heard reports and updates from the staff activities and daily operations. At the August 20th meeting, the commissioners met and discussed the 2026 Indian Housing Plan. They also had discussion on a strategic infrastructure plan for housing. And then they got reports from staff. In new business at that meeting, they did talk about planning dates with a consultant for planning and development for the 14 acres. And there's 3 lots on Hawthorne. And then they also talked about in that meeting the purchase of some land up there on Cleveland Street, which we did purchase in this quarter. So we have 3 development projects that we will be working on within the next year. And once we secure a consultant for that, and we have that in the 2025 IHP to do that consultant work and have them come in and help us. So that's mentioned here. And then at their September 10th meeting, they continued discussion on the 2026 IHP and on the strategic infrastructure plan for the housing. Those are standing item agendas for them so that they could continually have those discussions, so they know what going into next year, approving the next year's plan, that they just kind of bring all of that together and work together on what they're going to do for the next funding cycle. Then they made the purchase of the land on, what did they do? They approved a house at 307 Ash Street to be a non-NAHASDA lease purchase program home, which is a new thing. It's a new policy. They'll be looking at that policy at the next meeting for approval, because non-NAHASDA is just over income. We have NAHASDA homes that are low income lease purchase, and we've never done a non-NAHASDA. So they'll be approving some policies for that, and then trying to advertise to get that somebody put in that home. And that's up there on the hill up there by the hospital. And then they approved a resolution for an amendment to the bylaws to include policy and procedure for a signature stamp for their chairperson. We've been having issues with getting our signature authorities in to sign checks or any other leases or, things that we're doing. So they approved for a policy to designate that a signature stamp with a bunch of procedures that we follow. So that got approved as well. On our quarterly objectives, actually, these will be numbers that I'm going to spout out at you for the year, because our fiscal year ended in September and our new fiscal year started in October 1st. We continue with the rehabilitation of the homes. I think we put in our IHP that we'll do 3 renovations, rehabilitations, and we met that goal. The down payment assistance, which is the $10,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. We had it in our IHP to do 1 applicant because that's all we get for that program. We had 4 applicants apply and 1 was approved. For the youth activities, which is what we do to help with registration, help the kids get the supplies that they need for sports. We had in the budget goal for 10 students, but during the fiscal year, there were 16 applicants. Yeah, 16 applicants who were approved and 3 who were denied. Emergency assistance, which is the utility and rental assistance, and we also do we try to help with homelessness and put them in a hotel for a couple of nights, or if somebody has a medical situation they need to be put in the hotel, we do that. Our goal was 20 applicants, and we had 37 applicants who applied and were approved, and 6 additional applicants who were denied services. Whenever we say denials, we have a lot of people who will apply and sometimes never finish their application or bring in the information that they need. And we keep them for so long that, after 3 months of them, no communication with them, then we have to deny them. So some of those were that. Some of them were jurisdictional because we have to work within the jurisdiction on our assistance programs. And then some of them they were either over income, because people will apply not knowing that, yes, all of our programs are low income based. One of the things that I will mention for future development, we're continuing to work with the REP program, which is the Pawnee Nation and Tribuquint. We're continuing to do the smoke detectors program with emergency services, and the commissioners and a couple of the staff. I'm on these Pawnee Community Summit, and we have a housing subcommittee. And so we have invited our commissioners to join. So we have 2 commissioners and then 2 of our staff members who are on that committee, that subcommittee. And what's going to be coming out of that is the rental inventory that will be on the City of Pawnee's website, and which is linked to our website, and it will show the housing inventory in Pawnee. If you need a rental, what it does is you'll be able to click on the landlord name. So they'll click on Pawnee Nation Housing, and then see the inventory of what's available through Pawnee Nation Housing. That's going to be for all of our landlords here in the community, and we're just going to be a part of that. We're also going to be developing codes. I know I mentioned this at the last meeting, but we'll be developing residential codes for the city, and just bringing our commissioners in with their knowledge of what they have as landlords. I think that was it's a good opportunity for them to kind of show what they know concerning residential and the upkeep of these, because they're the ones who approve for a lot of this stuff to be renovated in the rehab on our housing that we have right now. We did attend some travel and training in Oklahoma City. It was a financial accounting training for HUD, and a couple of the staff attended that. That was in August of this year, or this quarter. And then we also submitted all of our financials, which is in the report. If you have any questions on those, please let me know. I can't answer all of them, but I can get somebody to answer that, and we can send that to you. So that's all I have for the housing report.
Any questions for Councilwoman Butler on the housing? Okay, just me today, guys. I got a question I have a couple actually. On the financial assistance, it says that it's provided to tribal members, and it talks about youth activities, blah, blah, blah. It says tribal members, but is that afforded to any Native American youth in your housing units?
Yes.
Okay, can
So
we clarify that in the report?
Okay,
Because it says tribal members only.
Yeah, tribal members have first priority. Whenever we got the applications for this last semester, we had a community member post out there that we had the assistance available, which we always put it out there, but everybody jumped on board because her kids are non-Pawnee tribal members. And that's when, but we took all the applications and we first serve Pawnee tribal members when they apply. So we hold on to them for at least a week to see what applicant. We got like 20 applications in that week. So we served all the tribal members first, and then we go to the next priority, which is non-tribal. So that's how it's in all of our policies that way, that they are first priority, that our tribal members will be served within the jurisdiction first. So I can make that revision to that, but that's how we do those applications. Yeah.
Priority information on the
Yes.
application. And also there was a question about JOM reimbursement. On one of the items, it said that it had to get a denial from housing first before they would do the reimbursement.
I haven't heard about that yet.
Okay.
So, no.
Let's see, the next one that I had was the solar certification for individuals. It said that there was issues with getting, I guess, people to travel that far for the solar certification training. Where is that located?
That is an Alex question,
Okay.
and I'll have to get back with you on that because I don't work hand in hand with some of their grant stuff that they do, but he can answer that. And
Okay,
I don't have a pen, but will you send it to me and then I can ask him, we can get you an answer.
I can try. I got all kind of notes here. If they could possibly get tarot and education together, because I'm thinking tarot education and WIX, and see if they could come up with something, or even the college.
And I think they have, but like I said, I don't dive in deep on those things. That's his job. So
See what they can come up with.
Yeah.
And then the non-Nahasda home that was approved for a lease to own, how does that transpire, and who?
they're working.
What is the process, and how do they determine that this non-Nahasda home is going to be sold?
The non-Nahasda, since it was purchased with non-Nahasda money, which is revenue money that we bring in, the commission had decided that they wanted to go ahead and make it a non-Nahasda purchase, lease to own. That was their decision. I would have to get with them on making that decision, but they wanted to go ahead and try doing that because they've never done it. They've just done it for low-income families. This is the first time they've done it. So like I said, they're going to be looking at policies and procedures to do that. The home is almost ready, but like I said, we're not doing anything until we know what their process is going to be. They're developing it.
So the home has been selected, but not, the occupant is not the one purchasing it?
The occupant, well, see, because they're going through other options is too, because it's discussion on their level for, when we do this, are we going to sell it? Are we going to require them to go through another lender? Are they going to be required to go through us? We're trying to push out 184 loans. With the BIA, there's a lot of options that they want to do because technically they really don't want to be the landlord, but they got to make those decisions if they're going to be, or if they're going to say, you have, to sell this to you, it's a non-Nahasda, we're trying to recoup our money, you'll have to go through a lender. So I don't know that process yet because they're, like I said, they're developing it. It's at the discussion level at this point. It's new and they've never done it like this before. So they're just trying to figure out what their options are and to research some things on how they can do it. And I can report back after this next couple of months to see how we're going to do that.
Okay, because I'm just trying to ensure fairness in applying for that specific home and that an owner is already not pre-selected before.
Well, and we also have a
process.
waiting list for non-Nahasda, and we have 3 people on that waiting list. All 3 tribal members, all 3 who are already either in a non-Nahasda home through housing, because you have to apply to get that option. But like I said, I don't know what procedure we'll go through. I'm not for sure how that's going to be laid out just yet, but they're looking at it. They have a document in front of them and they're supposed to be doing research to kind of bring that together. We'll be talking about it at the next couple of meetings before the end of the year.
Okay, and my last question on the down payment assistance, you said you had 4 apply and 1 approved. One was only eligible?
One was
and
only
approved?
eligible. Yes. So whenever we deny anybody, any of our applications, there's a reason why they get denied. So,
Well, that was my
yeah.
only question because I was going to go on and say if others were eligible, but just the funding was not available, that,
No.
you know, the,
No,
Okay.
they were ineligible.
Okay.
These three that were denied.
all right, that's all I have.
And this next year, we have more funding, so we'll be able to do 3 for the down payment assistance. So if you're a tribal member, Pawnee tribal member, you have Pawnee preference, and it's $10,000 for first-time home buyers. That's the stipulation, is that you have to be a first-time home buyer, because some people try to claim that they're a first-time home buyer and they're really not. And it is income-based. That is income-based as well. All of our programs are income-based.
Okay, thank you for that report. Item number 8, Pawnee Nation Tribal Development Corporation report. Who do we have online? Mr. Waller, are you with us today?
Are you there, Mr. Waller? You're on mute now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time hearing. It's kind of cutting out a little bit. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. I'm Robert Waller with Pawnee Tribal Development Corp. I appreciate the invite to participate today. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. Had some personal things that the kids were doing that I had to take care of today, but we'll start with the financial side of TDC. The third quarter of 2024 was somewhat flat compared to last year. The last year's third quarter cash was up just a little bit over the same time period. The net revenue in total was up about 2%, but the operating costs were up a little as well. So, like I said, it was pretty flat for the quarter. We did have some increase in distributions to the tribe starting in August. So the second and third month of the quarter of 2024, the third quarter, our distributions went up by about 50%, and that will continue going forward. On a year-to-date basis, it's a slightly better outlook as far as the EBITDA earnings on a year-to-date basis. We are up, I think it's, 27% over 2023 on a year-to-date basis. And EBITDA as a percent of revenue, which just kind of shows our efficiency. As far as year-to-date 2023, we're at 10.9%. This year-to-date, we're at 14.1%. So doing a whole lot better there, about a 29 or 30% increase. The one thing we've been working on this year, trying to get up, is our hold percentage, which last year-to-date basis, we were at 4.5%. This year, we're at 4.8%, which again is pretty good. I would like to get that up close to 5.5%. And we're doing several things this year to kind of work on that. I actually just started working with a consultant in our industry that does slot analysis on a monthly and a year-to-date basis. And we actually just started working with him. We have our first meeting with him next week. Kind of some of the things that he does is he looks at placement of the machines on the floor. He looks at cabinets. He looks at vendors, titles, denominations per machine. Are we putting all like type machines together by brand or by denomination? And all these things make a big difference, because really on our class 2 machines, our hold percentage is pretty low on class 2. On class 3, it's higher. So you want to kind of work a balance between class 2 and class 3. I think our class 2 is a little high right now, so we're gonna reduce that a little bit and bring in some machines that earn a little better. One of the things that we actually have been trying to refinance our balloon payment on our debt. This started months ago, and NIGC told us it would take 4 to 6 weeks for them to review it and issue their declination letter. And this was back in July. We actually just got that declination letter this week, late this week. And so we finally got yesterday afternoon, we received our final loan documents, and hopefully early next week we can get all those signed and get that all refinanced. And we switched banks from First Secure to Sovereign Bank here in Oklahoma. First Secure was in Chicago, so we've got an Oklahoma connection now, and trying to keep some of our business here in the state. Sovereign is actually a tribally owned bank, so that helps as well. So like I said, hopefully by the end of next week we can get everything signed off on there. Some of our demographics for the end of the third quarter, we ended with 133 employees, with about 30% of that being tribal and the rest being non-tribal. That consists of 116 full-time employees and 17 part-time. One of the things that we have to do with when you have debt is you have some debt covenants, which for the third quarter of 2024, there's 3 of them that we look at. We look at debt service coverage, which we have to keep a minimum of 1.5%, and we're actually at 3.54%. So we're knocking that one out of the park. The other one is the fixed charge coverage ratio, which again, the minimum is 1.15, and we're at 3.54. So doing extremely well on that one. The last one is our leverage ratio. And our maximum there is 3.25, and we're at 0.91. So, we're doing really well on all of those debt covenants, which those will change slightly when we refinance this loan. But if you look at them on a year-to-date basis, they're actually even better than that. So we're doing well there. Let's see what else we have. Just on a year-to-date basis for the company in total. In the years past, we've had some that were making money, some that weren't making money, and really now the only thing that's really everything is in the positive and doing really well. The restaurant is one which is kind of a lost leader for us, because we give employees discounts, and we have promotions that we give half price meals and things for. So we don't really expect that one to make money, and it doesn't lose a tremendous amount of money, but everything else is doing really well. The retail on the trading post, it kind of hovers around, zero, making a little bit of money, lose a little bit of money this month. But all the rest of them are doing really well. If like I said, our EBITDA on a year-to-date basis is up 27% over last year, and we're still doing real well with the hold. Some of the things that we've hired a new social media and events coordinator. Her name is Alex. She's done a great job. We've had a dinner show with a magician. We had an OSU tailgating party. We had a car show. We're just trying to do a lot more events around the casino to draw more people in. Hopefully they're new people, or maybe they're old people, and they want wander into the casino, spend a little money, or go to the restaurant, eat a meal. Some of the things that she has coming up for November, she has a paint party. I believe these dates are right on the 6th. There's a comedy crew out of Stillwater that's going to come, and I think there's 5 or 6 comedians, and they all get up and do a 10-15 minute act, and that should be here on the 9th. And then on the 23rd, we have a band that's coming in. We're going to try to set that up in the restaurant, and I think it's Kaylin Smith. I think they may be out of Stillwater as well. I'm not for sure. Karaoke. We have karaoke one night a month, every month. So, and she's going to have a lot more events that she's planning. We're trying to get to a point where we can build a stage just north of the casino, so that we can bring some of that stuff outdoors in the spring and summer. We actually got some electricity on the 20 acres last week, so that'll help. We won't have to use generators all the time when we do an outdoor event. We're working with Empire, which is our fuel distributor. We're talking about possibly rebranding the fuel from Phillips 66 to Sinclair. There's a whole list of advantages of doing that on price and rebate and how often they come out and spruce up their signage and repaint canopies and things like that. But they're really trying to increase their presence, and they're putting out a lot of incentives to do that. Some of the other things that we're still thinking about is doing a bingo hall. I'm still trying to evaluate, if the restrictions on it will keep us from making money or not, but it's looking pretty well. I'd still like to put some kind of an office building a little closer to the casino, just so I can get all those directors closer to the people they're directing. And still looking at a big LED sign for the side of Stone Wolf. I think that's about it. Any questions? Operational, financial, anything we can do to help?
Council, are there any questions for Mr. Waller? Councilwoman Hare?
Oh, thank you for the report, Mr. Waller. This is Donna. So you mentioned, and I read in the report, that the Stone Wolf Grill, the Wolf Grill, is at a deficit, and I think it normally runs that, and you've explained that. How are those specials going? I noticed that you're offering some really interesting dining specials. Is that helping?
Yeah, they're doing really well. A lot of it is just pricing. When you have a casino, the restaurants are kind of a loss leader because you want to try to price it, that's reasonable for people to come out and eat. But, when you throw in discounts and half prices and free meals and things like that, it's really hard to make that up. But it has, there's been a lot of positive comments about the new menu, and, some of the specials that we have. So far it's been a plus. And, on a year-to-date basis, let me look. Our loss is the smallest loss we've had over the last 3 years. So we're closing that gap a little bit. I would like to get it to a break even at some point. But we're still working on that. We're working on with vendors for, bigger discounts and, maybe supplying more just in time rather than us, having to stock things for a while. So there's some strategies we can do to kind of close that gap. And we've been doing that. We're probably up. I mean, it's still a loss over last year by about 15%. So it's getting closer to zero, and it's the loss is half of what it was 2 years ago.
Okay, thank you. I have one more question or comment, as I noticed that your number of enrolled Pawnees has decreased from 19% last quarter to 13% this quarter. Are we making any efforts to try to recruit Pawnee employees?
Yes, we are. And again, we try to interview every Pawnee employee that applies for a job. We post them out there on all the social media sites. I'm having our HR director to start sending our job openings to the college, every time that it changes, so that if there's something there that is interesting, or if we can, do an internship or something like that, we're more than welcome to. The hardest part is it's just, casinos in general, the turnover is just so high. I think last year our turnover was around 75%, which seems extremely high, but I've been at a casino where it was 125%. So actually 75 is pretty good. But if you think about that on a numbers basis, that's because a lot of them are, a customer service role or a cleaning role or a cashier role, wait staff. A lot of them are just, on the lower end of the pay scale. So, we're giving every opportunity that we can for those that are interested in working with us.
Okay, thank you.
Vice President Canoe.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Waller, for this report. I know at the beginning of your report, you mentioned that gaming operation revenue is somewhat flat. We're just slightly down 1.2% on year over year. That's for July, September. How is the beginning of this quarter looking? Is it looking kind of improving a little bit, or is it kind of still going in that kind of trend?
You mean as far as November?
Yeah,
or October?
Yeah, just moving into October, moving into this.
Well,
fourth
I just got our every twice a week I get a report that just shows our coin in, coin out, our jackpots and what our hold was and our hold percentage. Our hold percentage is around 5% now. Like I said, on a year-to-date basis, it's 4.8, but that averages all 9 months. So throughout this year, it's gradually gone up. I think it got up to like maybe 5.25, and it seemed like on that report, I don't have financials for October yet, but it looked like the revenue had gone up. So, like I said, it was, I think it was 4.9 or 4.98 was the whole percentage, and the revenue was up over September. So I anticipate that it's going to pick up over last year. So, like I said, on a year-to-date basis through September, we're up 27%. I'm hoping by the end of the year that's between 30 and 35%. So I think this next quarter is going to be a good one.
Okay, good. And then you mentioned the debt that we have currently. So we just received the information from NIGC this past week. When did you say you anticipate closing on all of that with Sovereign?
We had them date all the loan documents for November the 8th, which is next Friday. So, TDC has a board meeting on Monday night. I think PBC has one on Tuesday night. So hopefully we can get all of those signed on Monday and Tuesday. I'll take it over there to them on Wednesday. They can get all their ducks in a row. They can, pay off first secure on Friday. So hopefully by the end of Friday, the loan will be with Sovereign Bank. We've already opened all of our accounts with them, and most of the money is in Sovereign already. But after we get first secure paid off, we can close all those accounts with them and move any remaining money back over to Sovereign.
Okay, appreciate that. And then I was trying to take notes as you were talking to you. You said EBITDA was up. What percentage did you say overall?
27%.
Okay. I wrote 27, then I wrote 12 for
26.85.
some reason. I don't know. Okay, I appreciate that.
Yep.
Secretary Gardapi.
Hello, Mr. Waller, Secretary Gardapi. I just have a question. I noticed that you guys were hiring a little ways back for a construction manager, and I was wondering if you were able to fulfill that position, and what type of construction did you have in mind that you guys were going to do?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question. I heard something about construction.
Yes, I saw that you had a construction manager opening over there, and I was wondering if you fulfilled that.
Yeah,
And
I'm not for sure if we're going to do that or not. My original thought was, we have a lot of projects that we want to do, and I owned a construction company for 10 or 12 years, a home building company. So when I get a bid from a construction company on doing a remodel or building a building or something, and I ask for it in detail, and I look and I see, and if you're going to spend $800,000 on construction of something, $300,000 of that's going to be profit to that company. And if you have 3 or 4 or 5 projects that you want to do, that profit percentage for the construction companies can, it can get up close to $1 million. So my thought was, if I go out, I can hire a construction manager that can, manage all of these products or all of these projects, and schedule all the subs and oversee all the work. And I'm going to save us, $700,000, $1 million, because all I have to do is pay this guy. So then we're saving the profit that we would be paying. And kind of my thought with that process was, okay, I've got a construction manager that I'm paying anyway. And this was kind of before the economic development side was taken over to the tribe. But I thought, well, I can open an LLC and put this guy in the LLC, and we'd still pay his salary. And while he's working on our things, he could build he could bid other projects and do other work to, even pay for himself. So again, I don't know if we're going to fill that role or not. We may just pay these construction companies and let them, make the profit on some of this.
What projects did you have in mind is what I'm really asking for this construction manager. I get that you want to save profit margin, but what projects are you have in mind specifically?
What projects that I have in mind? It's remodeling the trading post, building the stage on the 20 acres there north of the casino, a bingo hall. If we decide that's a profitable venture, an office building for our directors. Now we're in the old hospital
Okay, thank you, Mr. Waller. That answers my questions for now.
Councilwoman Butler.
Mr. Waller, I just want to circle back a little bit to where Donna was talking about the turnover. Whenever you guys were talking about the turnover over at the casino, are you guys, is your HR department doing exit interviews with some of those people to find out why there's turnover, why they're leaving? I think that part of that can be reviewed in, trying to eliminate those barriers. Is that something that you guys are doing?
When we can, we do an exit interview. A lot of them are, if someone gets mad about something, they just leave and they won't come back in for an exit interview. If, a lot of them are terminated. Mm-hmm. So there's not really much of an exit interview available. But yes, human resources, and again, I suggested this about 2 or 3 months ago. Let's, every time we can, let's do an exit interview.
Mm-hmm. And so then even whenever the terminations, you're also, or when they just up and leave, that you're documenting that to make sure that you know why they're leaving. That way, because, a lot of it deals with employee morale, and, we all hear things that happen at the casinos that we don't mention, but, it's just whenever those things are documented, then you guys can address those situations, whether they're, not even just address them, but look into them. Because a lot of the reasons that people quit, it's not just because they don't like it, it's because something's going on. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I just wanted to make sure that you guys were doing at least, trying to at least mitigate it, or trying to fix the situation and trying to keep people there, because that is a high turnover rate for anybody. So just wanted to make mention of that. Thank you.
I completely agree. And every time there is either a termination or, even if we have to terminate someone, I still like to look at that and say, how can we do something better so they show up to work on time every day, so that we don't have to terminate somebody. If they're not a morning person, can we put them on an afternoon shift? If they're not a night person, can we put them on a morning shift? There's a lot of things that you can do, even, because I don't even like to terminate people if we don't have to. If we can, set the situation up to where it's easier for everyone, then, that just makes for a better place to work.
Thank you.
Okay, if no further questions for Mr. Waller, you're dismissed at this time. Next item thank you. The next item that we have is item number 9, Pawnee Nation Executive Director Report.
Hello, Council. I'll be brief because I think I've spoken a lot of stuff prior, but just from the acting executive director role, I think I came in this almost at the end of August. So just during that period, was trying to regroup and get with all the division directors as well as others, and just try to sit down and have one-on-one, see where they were at, seeing what they might have been working on with the previous director, but seeing what I could do to kind of assist and move things along without creating and minimizing any type of interruption. So, I met with a lot of the directors, the court, the college, attorney general, see what things that they were all working on along with that person. So just really regrouping and educating myself and just kind of getting caught up to speed of like what was going on. During that time, I met with the college, and at that time we were kicking off the professional or tribal leadership professional training, and that's going to be with a lot of our directors once a month. So right at that time, that was about to kick off. So a lot of it's been invested in that. So we continue moving forward with that. So that did kick off. We've been through 2 now. And Again, that's just kind of mid-month for the division directors, and then the following days with all our supervisor manager. That's a separate training, kind of that's really driven down to what they experience from their positions as supervisors and managers, and more of the director side of it's a little bit what they get exposure to and how they can be better directors. Then, kind of, dealing with the HR, kind of looking at ways that we can streamline human resources. I know we got a consultant working on behalf, and I know some of those policies have been sent off to the HR committee for review, but really diving a little bit deeper into our PAYCOM. I know Councilwoman Butler talked about the exit interviews. Those things we don't have in place, but we can integrate those into our PAYCOM system. So when folks are leave on their own reasons or they are terminated, some of those things like COBRA, exit surveys, it gets sent out to their private email that's on file. And then at the same time, we can do a lot of other stuff. But right now, just since I've kind of been here, I see that HR is really just more, paper. We're still kind of old school. So we need to kind of get that in today's age, utilizing technology, turn a lot of things digitally. But at the same time, we can send some stuff ahead of time, especially if it's a new hire, just getting their contact information, getting some of the benefit forms filled out based off of taxes and things like that. We go ahead and send that to electronically. So when their first day comes in, they can kind of have a lot of that filled out, ready to go, or already seeing it, might have some questions to kind of help them guide them through that process. But that's just really just streamlining that department. Then we got some stuff and efforts moving along with the chat program. I know we went on a retreat with some of our staff, really kicking that off, understanding like how chat could benefit the Pawnee Nation. And then had, a new hire, our communication manager, Dina Cosby. So she's been doing a great job, especially, rebranding the nation, really getting a lot of our things out there. I felt like some of that stuff was being overlooked, but it was a great way really just to get a lot of efforts that people that don't live here locally can see what a lot of things that council are doing, a lot of our divisions are doing. And especially some of our cultural events, really just getting that exposure, getting a lot of that information out. So kudos to her just, stepping up and doing a lot of that. We also had owner appreciation through Thompson Construction. We had a luncheon. I know we invited the council out for that. And then we did a walkthrough, got the opportunity to see that. So that was great for Thompson Construction, just to give appreciation, not to just the owners, but the subs that have been devoting their time and energy on the behavioral health project. And then lastly, the big thing is really just kicking off that manufacturing thing. I know this is fast track because that grant's due on November 21st. So that's a lot of heavy lifting. But I think within that, we had time to sit with council, present this opportunity that led to some land allocation. And then most recently getting the LLC moving forward. And then we'll continue looking at some additional partnerships with our college. As well as some stakeholders within the community. We had a meeting this week with UCAP and building that relationship, because I know a lot of services we do, at least on the housing side of it, they also do for like the non-natives and things like that. So how do we just align some of what we're doing that can trickle over to the city as well? But lastly, that's it. But that's just to kind of give you my little month and a week in third quarter. So I'm open to any questions.
Did you have questions? Oh, okay. Councilwoman Hare?
That's what. Okay, well, thank you for the report, Brian, and I wanted to commend you on your report. It was very detailed, and your written report. and I want to thank you for carrying the extra load and always being willing to step up and do what we ask you to do. I want to commend Jamie for her efforts in trying to get the quarterly reports in on time. And I know we have some work to do on our end, but Jamie did great on responding to us from the last quarterly meeting, saying we want to see them sooner. So appreciate the executive office's efforts on that. And I have some more comments on programs, and I'll save those unless this is a good time.
We'll get to that. Okay, any other questions for Brian? Thank you, Brian. Go ahead.
Yes, we're going to have to amend the agenda on number 15, executive session. We need to reword that from discussion with the Pawnee Seed Preservation Society Board to discussion with Attorney General
Regarding.
Attorney General Austin Vance regarding the Pawnee Seed Preservation Society Board.
Are you making that
No,
motion?
just
No?
Pawnee Seed Preservation Society.
Society, okay. Yeah, so we need to change that because we're not going to be able to be here today to discuss this, but we can discuss it with the Attorney General.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda for the amendment.
I'll second.
I've got a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Butler, second by Secretary Gardapi. Discussion. And I just want to add that this request was brought to the council by the Pawnee Seed Preservation Society Board. However, we received communication this morning that due to developments yesterday and this morning, they're not available to speak today about the matters at hand until clarified by their legal counsel. So that's the reason for them not being in executive session today. Any further discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. And this is to amend the agenda for the discussion.
Jordan Cunningham?
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman?
Yes.
Cynthia Butler?
Yes.
Donna Hare? Sammy Kimball? Sammy Kimball? You're still on mute, Sammy. If you're trying to agree to the approval of the agenda.
Not.
Can you just count her as not voting?
Not voting, yeah. Motion carried.
Can you reach out to her, please, so we can make sure she's still online and didn't drop off? Okay, so it's still in its same place. We're going to continue on with the agenda. At this time, we have item number 10, Pawnee Nation Attorney General Report. Mr. Vance, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm terribly sorry. I like many of the speakers. It's a little difficult to hear. I just want to make sure I don't speak out of turn. Are you all wanting to hear a report on the quarterly report that we submitted, or is this?
Yes, the quarterly report. Mr. Vance, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Oh, hello. Okay. Sorry, I can hear you much better now. I heard both the seed preservation issue and the quarterly report mentioned. Which were you all wanting me to address currently?
We just amended the agenda to revise the description And so right now, we're still on report, so we're waiting to hear your quarterly report.
Thank you, Madam President, and I am so sorry to you all about the issues, but I hear you loud and clear. So on the third quarterly report, we continued to work with Brian during this transition, as the interim executive director, kind of filling in for those duties. We had a couple meetings with Brian regarding the role, generally, and then as well as a few particular projects such as the more recent Pawnee Steel. But turning to the report itself, we start with the litigation. For most of the litigation matters that the nation is facing, we are handling those in conjunction with Michael Friedman and Earth Justice. There really has not been movement in the litigation related to the 10th Circuit, Pawnee Nation versus EPA, at the Northern District, Pawnee Nation versus BIA. But the Michael Freeman and Earth Justice continue to work with the BIA toward the safety amendment and sort of work with the BIA on revising their approach to allowing the state to regulate the environmental aspects of the nation or any tribe in Oklahoma's jurisdiction. We also have Pawnee Nation versus Bacone College, which has hit some snags on the ground as it relates to Bacone College. Their registered legal agent informed us that they are not their legal agent anymore, and they do not apparently currently have a legal agent on the ground to receive legal documents for them and whatnot. So we currently have a hearing set next month before Judge Tripp to see, it will be a status update if we can't get a hold of a legal representative of the college, but we've been contacted separately by bankruptcy counsel for the college. So where this goes from here, we'll figure out in the next few months, but that's where the litigation currently is. Next, we had this matter didn't affect the nation directly, but Earth Justice had requested if the nation wanted to join an amicus brief as it related to the 7-county infrastructure coalition versus Eagle County. And ultimately, I believe the amicus brief was submitted and there was reference made to the Crown Energy litigation that the nation is currently involved in before the Indian Board, the Interior Board of Indian Appeals. What that matter is currently stayed, but kind of the reason it is important for federal agencies to consult with and ensure that they are actually enforcing environmental regulations is a central issue of the 7-county infrastructure coalition case. And so that general principle that the nation supports is being re-articulated using the Crown Energy matter that the nation's involved in. And then as far as the actual Crown Energy and Magellan pipelines, there's no update regarding those particular issues. And then I'll stop there real quick just to see if anyone has any questions about litigation over that third quarter versus before I begin going into the governance.
I just have a comment. That information that you provided to us about or regarding Bacone College, can you send that to Stacy Burns at the college? Because that was noted in the report that they were waiting on a hearing date to be set, but that one hadn't been set. So if you could forward that information, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, Madam President, I'll be glad to do that. And I wish I had a more of a substantive development, but we can definitely pass along the hearing date and make sure that Nation College is up to date on what's going on there.
Great, thank you. Does any other council have any questions? Vice President Canuho.
Yes, thank you, AG Vance. What was the hearing date for the college, did you say?
I believe it is December 12th. Let me look at my calendar real quick. December 10th at 10 a.m. is when the hearing is currently set. But I will say Judge Tripp we have not provided the court with an update on our attempts to service Bacone College. So I think it's likely that Judge Tripp may end up striking that hearing date, but currently December 10th at 10 a.m. is the setting, and I'll update everyone if it changes or Judge Tripp wants to do something with that.
Okay. And then under the 7 County Infrastructure Coalition, did we join the amicus brief?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. That was all I had.
And I'm sorry, Vice President, if that was a question for me, I did not hear the end of it.
Oh, sorry. Madam President was able to answer that for me. I just asked
Okay.
if we were able to, or if we joined the amicus brief on the 7 County infrastructure. And she mentioned not yet.
Okay, well, and obviously if anyone has questions about the litigation, we can definitely circle back. I'll just go into the governance real quick. Most of, what we do for the governance side of the assisting the nation involves reviewing legal documents that are passed to us for legal sufficiency, both as it relates to Pawnee Nation law and federal law, and in the instances where it's required, state law. But for all intents and purposes, those largely include legal documents such as resolutions that the PBC passes, commercial contracts, memos, and other summaries of legal events. The quarterly reports on governance and on litigation, what I try to do is put enough information such that the PBC and anyone who looks at the report could tell what topics are discussed in those matters, but not revealing privileged or attorney-client privilege, confidential information that may be shared within those documents themselves. But if any PBC members have specific questions beyond the, information provided and what we looked at with these documents, we could discuss that in executive session, today or anytime really. Some particular projects that we undertook during the third quarter included the legal advice related to the Cushing water crisis and how the nation was responding to that. And we also engaged in two constitutional committee meetings related to just answering legal questions, nothing particular, just how do we, is this the right way to structure this and things like that. And to be honest, the Constitution Committee really is driving that process themselves. I don't know that we had more than a couple questions at either meeting. And then additionally, we've received notices, or we were contacted by David Llewellyn related to the forced fee patent issue. I know the PBC is aware that's just kind of both a global issue that the nation is investigating and an individual issue that Deborah Llewellyn, as an individual, is facing with the IBIA in Pawnee County. He just requested to get an update as to if there would be a FOIA request or how that was going, but we can, again, beyond that, get into that in confidential conversations. And then the last two are related to, we removed some legal files from, I noted it as the nation's property, but I actually am not, as I see that now, I don't know that that's technically correct. I just know that we were asked to look at some attorney files that were left behind at a building to assist the nation with that, at least get it to the Oklahoma Bar Association so they could handle it. And then the last thing I had was I had one conversation with Edie Gover Littleson about a potential special female violence officer under VAWA for the nation. That was a very initial conversation. I hadn't spoken to Police Chief Canuho or any of you all about that. So if that's still of interest to the nation, we can definitely continue down that path. But it was a project that really was preliminary at the time. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
I had one question right off the bat that kind of stuck out to me because I wasn't aware of it. I know that there was the Cushing water crisis, but can you speak to what the legal issues were, I guess, or what that was pertaining to?
Yes, Madam President, I'd be happy to. It was a very specific legal question regarding from Edie Gover Littleson related to how the Misharo Council could access, or if they could use enrollment information in an emergency, or a resolution they would have to pass would look like to do that. And then I don't know what happened after I gave that advice, but my understanding was the Charter Council did whatever they needed to do in order to provide the information needed to get that done. But I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none, Austin, thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Item number 11, approval of 2024 Pawnee Nation third quarterly reports divisions. Any questions on divisions? Councilwoman Butler.
I just have a few comments. All the reports looked really good, but I just had a few comments on some things that were reported on the adult education and training. Under demographics, they had 23 under A, 23 Native Americans are on the in WEX positions, 12 Pawnee Nation, and then 10 other nations. There's one missing. So I didn't know if they're just non-Pawnee or if they could be added in there. Also on item H, the higher ed demographics, it says that there were 47 Pawnee citizens who received scholarships. That's awesome. But in the next part of that sentence, it says two went to VOTEC, 2 Pawnee citizens. So were they 2 Pawnee Nation citizens who went to VOTEC and they were awarded that? Just a little bit of clarification, because when we put this out to the people, they might have those same questions. I did notice that they didn't have a director report, and I thought he was hired on in July. Did we not require a director report for at least the time that he had been there? Because he was hired in July, so he would have been there for the third quarter. But there was no director report. Did you notice that? Did you review the reports to notice that he didn't have a report in?
No, I didn't see that, but I can get that report to you.
Okay. Just asking, because like I said, he was here in the third quarter, could have reported on what they were doing and the work that they were doing in that time. The other question I had is more of like upkeep and maintenance with our property department, because it's mentioned in the Pawnee Nation Learning Center report. And I know that they get revenue, and I know that they can spend the revenue for upgrades and stuff, but are we not upgrading our buildings? I know that Councilwoman Kimball has been trying to bring that forward a little bit with, wanting to get Rome Chief renovated. But our buildings that have our programs in it, is it not in property's budget to do those renovations, to make sure that we're doing upkeep? Because I would assume that would be a part of what they do. Because they're looking at updates for their AC units, which all of the things that they're trying to update are cosmetic. They're all what we should we not be taking care of that? As the tribe, to keep our buildings updated, and especially for our kids, because they're doing purchase for an automatic dishwasher for the kitchen, purchase of a generator for the building, purchase of new shade for the playgrounds, and then our update of their AC units. It's just a question that I had. I didn't know how we are handling our upkeep on our buildings, because I know Building 64 can use some renovations, some updates, and probably a lot of our other buildings as well. So just want to make mention of it. I don't know if you don't have to answer me today, but it was just something I wanted to bring up, because that's a concern. And I know it's been a concern on the council level for a little while. The next one that I had was on the gym. And the only concern I had on the gym was the financial reporting. And I know that this is under a program. They bring in revenue of, well, for this quarter, I'm assuming it's $2,400. Fitness center, sorry. But it says gym on it. But I don't know how to say the name, but it says gym. But we call it the fitness center, I guess. But they make $2,400 on revenue, but then their expenditures are $67. I'm going to assume some of that is program money that's been on salaries, or I'm going to assume that number is salaries. And I don't know how just make a suggestion. We probably should utilize the fitness center, the gym, as a business opportunity or a business, not program. I don't know if you guys have plans on doing that, because we could be reaching out and doing a lot what these fitness programs do. There's one in Stillwater, there's one in Cleveland. I know there's a lot of opportunity there, and I just didn't know if we would eventually turn that over to do something like that. Ms. Carroll, sorry.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, because that did come up in budget call, which we are still working on. But this current, the past budget we looked at, they brought in, was it 8,000 revenue? And the budget is actually way, way higher than that. So that discussion also happened between myself and Councilwoman Kimball, that we're just seeing a lot of things, and that's one of them that could be more of a it's more of a business effort now, because it's not working the way it is, because we're having to pay out way more money than we're bringing in.
Because I'm going to assume that's either tribal money or that's 477 money because it's
Right.
under education.
So
I just-
that needs a serious look. That could be a discussion at work group. I'll put that on the work group.
That sounds good.
Yes, we need a business model, and that's what we've talked about with the fitness center, the cattle operation, the, merchandise with the tax commission, the gift shop for tourism at the museum. All of those little existing businesses that we have need to be their own separate entity, so they can track funding and they can go after funding if need be.
Awesome. I just wanted to mention that because it was in the report. Now, I do have a question on the Division of Finance, and I know I think I brought it up a couple of times, but for the third quarter, we're still spending ARPA money, correct? So in the third quarter, there was 83,000 spent, but the total expenditures for 2024 were 247,000. We appropriated a certain amount, so the total expenditures, and it's given here 19,000, I think is what that says. Sorry, I'm going off my phone, but it says the amount of unappropriated revenue replacement funds, this is the funds I just mentioned, that there's zero. So my question is why are we still spending it if there's no money there?
Can I answer?
Yes.
Go ahead. When you get through, President.
Yes, Treasurer Chapman.
Yes, that is not correct figures on there. And I did not know that our new finance director was ill today. And I had hoped he would be here because this is his very first report, and he has been here enough to learn it. So when we get to that item, I would like to, and I'll do that later, table the financial report and put it on the next one so that he can be here in person to answer those questions. And then Jamie, if you would, in the recording, would you get her specific questions on the quarterly, Brian, too, and have him be able to make a presentation in person when I make the motion to table it?
Yeah, I'm gonna mention.
And this item has actually been requested because it was noted that the financials were not going to be available in time. So this item, specifically 2024 ARPA expenditures, has been put into a report at Tuesday's meeting.
Okay.
It's its own agenda item.
Okay, it just conflicts with what you guys are saying and what they're reporting, because I think they reported some of the same language in the last quarterly meeting that I asked about, and I think we still haven't addressed it in the report. So if it's not accurate, then take it out, because I'm always going to ask about it.
And that's why he should have been here.
Yeah. And then, so it says in the next paragraph, the total tribal expenditures during the quarter were 1 million, a little over 1.1 million, with revenues of about 500,000. Revenues succeeded expenditures, and then there's a deficit amount right there. But it says that the quarterly difference will be partially made up by indirect cost recovery and space cost recovery entries. The postings first quarter have been entered and posted for IDC. So are we not doing those in a timely manner whenever we're posting space costs and doing the IDC recovery? And then, so it's just, when I saw it and it was in red, I was like, oh crap, we have a deficit. What are we doing? But then I read a little bit further, but I'm glad that they're putting it in there. But if it's being taken care of, then I don't know. I just have concerns about it because it just puts a red flag to everybody whenever the tribal member comes in here and sees that too.
Right, and the reporting needs to be accurate, and that is why the new finance director.
So we're going to work with him. So you're going to work with him on reporting and how we report.
Okay. He is able to be here.
Okay.
In person to clarify.
Sounds good. Thank you. Because, when I see that, I'm just like, guys, what are we doing? Or are we watching our spending and we're almost we're at the fourth quarter? Are we watching what we're doing? We need to, okay, making sure.
We had clean on it. They're good up there, but with the new finance director, I know he's learning, and I thought he would be here.
Yeah, which is fine. It's good. I'm glad it's on our radar though.
Oh, it is.
Okay, the other thing I had a question about was, maybe we can get this in the next report. The tax department, they report that we have the Tag Pro system or the online tag system, but they don't report the numbers of people who are using it. And I would kind of like to see that. I was going to use it, but then I got to the very last day and just went to the office and got my tags. But it would be interesting to see, because we're renewing this system every year, but are we getting the numbers enough to renew this all the time, to utilize this program? That's where I'm coming from. I know we did this during the pandemic and we spent a lot of money doing this. I just like to know what those numbers are in using it. Is it going to be beneficial we keep it? Or is it, is it something that we probably should just not utilize? If it's one or two that utilize it during so many quarters, I think that needs to be looked at, but I'd like to kind of see the numbers to see what that looks like. That's my only suggestion for the text. Title VI, I noticed that we have a lot of more people who are doing Title VI, like their numbers have jumped up through the quarter. I know that their budget was cut. I don't know if I don't know. I know it's probably on Tiffany's radar, but I had some people that not complained, but just brought up the issue this last week. They ran out of food because there's a lot more people coming back to the program. So are we looking at maybe supplementing some funding for till the end of the year for them to kind of help them with food? Because some people are getting cut out who have been in the program for a while, who didn't get food this last week because, sorry, we ran out of food. We're trying to make more next time, blah, 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 which is fine. It's a good thing though, that people are coming back to the center, but those numbers are rising. And like I said, I know their budget was cut for this year, and what are we going to do to help that?
When we were doing initial budget call, all of these things that you mentioned were caught and they come up, and we are still finishing that up. In fact, we have our next meeting this week. So we're working on it and to meet the deadline, but everything that you talked about, those were brought out and they were discussed in the meeting, and for alternatives to it and to address it. So we should have a better handle on it here by the time we're finished to it, and we'll report all that too. So yeah, those are very good questions and were of great issue while we were discussing it.
All right, awesome. I worry about the next 2 months is what I'm worried about.
I want to clarify something. You said that they ran out of food. So does that mean that they ran out of groceries?
No,
to prepare food, or they just ran out of food prepared for that day?
Prepared for that day. And it happened to this person twice when they would go get their food, because they pick it up and then they leave, which is okay. I think one day they were going to sit there, but they were like, oh, we don't have any more food for the day.
That's
the issue.
That's a
because their
different
numbers,
issue.
that's what I'm talking about. The groceries for that day, and they didn't go the rest of the week because they didn't know if they'd be able to get served or not, which is an issue for an elder, going down and wanting to get food and sit and eat at the program. They were just kind of turned away, but they were just concerned. They were like, well, what are you guys doing about getting more funding? And so that's why I bring it up. So we have 2 more months left in the year, and so that's my only concern.
All those kind of situations are turned into the ED so that you can work with Tiffany.
Yeah.
Because if we don't know about it,
Can't address it.
Yeah, and I was just told yesterday evening, so.
that is a program.
I just brought it up because it was on my radar from last night, and it's just trying to bring it forward, so. And that was my only questions on the divisions. Thank you. Not questions, input on the divisions.
Any other council have questions for divisions? Yes, Councilwoman Hare.
Okay, thank you. So mine's not so much questions. I was just getting ready to commend Title VI, and I still do.
They're doing good.
Yeah. I think that they're really doing well with the budget cuts that they have incurred. And they're really trying to please the elders and make it really nice to go to. So I wanted to commend some of those who wrote the reports. And it's like the Health and Community Services, ICW, CHR, DASA, and Title VI and food distribution. They were all detailed reports. Also ag and repatriation and enrollment. And enrollment provides some really interesting statistics for us and demographics. But the one I really want to commend and acknowledge today is our Learning Center maintaining their 5-star rating. This is extremely important, and it's difficult to do because DHS can just lower your ratings for just small and what seems like small infractions. And so I commend them for their report and that the work that they're doing. Yeah, there are some that I've left out, but I also wanted to commend those who put future goals in there and remind everybody that we need to have those added this quarter for what the goals are going to be. And like Taro and law enforcement and property enrollment all had, what they were looking to do that next quarter. And I probably left somebody out. And so if I've left you out, I apologize. But like Cynthia said, there's some good reports in here, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hare. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none. Thank you for the reports. I do want to ask Donna, as chair of the property committee, if you can get with them on, I guess, driving through maybe the reserve at night and doing like a light check.
Okay.
Because I also know too that that court building that's being renovated, the lights have been left on. There was lights left on at Rome Chief one time. And
The Roundhouse.
the Roundhouse.
And that might be property and maybe have law enforcement also kind of
Yes,
the
yes.
ones to check.
All right, thank you for that. Item number 12, approval of,
I'll make a motion to approve the division reports for the third quarter.
I second.
I was just too busy listening. Okay, got a motion on the floor. Councilwoman Butler, second by who?
Hare.
Councilwoman Hare. Okay, let's call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman.
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Aho.
Sammy Kimball.
And she's
Oh, sorry,
excused.
she's excused.
And just for the record, she left the meeting at 11:33 a.m. Okay, item number 12, approval of 2024 Pawnee Nation third quarterly report, committees, commissions, and boards.
I have one.
Yes, Councilwoman Butler.
And I know we're working on this, and I know that this is important because we're expanding the utility department. We're making really good efforts. They're doing really good work. I know there's a bunch of stuff that's going to come to the council level pretty soon on their governing document on how they run and do their operations. I know one of the things that they are working on, and then they also mentioned in their report that they are trying to go out or we're going to request some funding to do the water meters on the buildings that we don't have water meters on. We have some on some buildings, but we don't. But if you'll look down there in their July through September reporting, when they report on their financials of what they're bringing in for the quarter for these, there's several people that rent from us that are not on the list. So, that's going to be another important thing because you have the lease that is up there with the TDC. They use water up there in their building, but yet we're not charging them for the water usage. I know we have space costs. I understand our space costs, and I understand what these dollars go towards, but we have them. We have Building 1 lease. We also have the BIA that's not on the list. We also have the Pawnee Nation College that's not on the list. And I just wanted to make mention that this is probably something that we should be looking at whenever we're using our I would like to see us monitor our water usage because we never know. And we may go through a big drought here pretty soon. City of Pawnee, they monitor their water. It's just, I just feel like going into this new development of expanding this department, we'll be able to tell better numbers on what our water usage is, and then we can get a better understanding of how much water we have. Because I know that that's been an issue that we've not been able to kind of track down. I had some discussions during the infrastructure meeting on this as well, Monday and Tuesday. I just see great things coming from the utility department that's really going to be helping us, but we just really just got to get there first. And that's just a concern for me because we've been going all these years without charging them. And it should be on here on our inventory list to do that. So that's the only thing I wanted to make mention. The only thing that everybody else is, I didn't have any issues or problems with, or questions. So that's all I have. Sorry.
Thank you for that. Any other comments or questions? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the 2024 Pawnee Nation third quarterly report for the committees, commissions, and boards.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Butler. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second by Secretary Gardapi. Let's call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Aho.
All right. Item number 13, approval of 2024 Pawnee Nation third quarterly report financials.
Yes, President Nettle,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to table this until our next council meeting to provide our new financial director, Mr. Fred Rabine, the opportunity to come finish his report. And we will be able to answer a lot of those questions because that's actually the day we work on that.
So at Tuesday's meeting or at was it the 19th?
I would think that
Tuesday's meeting.
when it was the date of the second one.
It's next week, next Tuesday.
Oh, that's quick for him.
Yeah.
He's sick.
Well, that's what they were told because it was supposed to be, the report was supposed to be prepared for quarterly. So they were told that they would be on next Tuesday's meeting.
So.
Because this is for the quarterly reports. This is the financials through
Right.
September.
If we could put it on, just go ahead and put it on the second meeting of the month.
So the 19th.
the 19th.
Okay, so for next
The
meeting,
19th.
Yes.
okay, hold on just a second. So for next meeting, you're going to do the 2024 financials, ARPA financials only.
Right, we can go ahead and answer.
And then the whole financials will be
Right.
the 19th.
Yes.
Is there a second
So
to the
it's just
motion?
a section, but yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion by Treasurer Chapman to table until the 19th. A second by Councilwoman Hare. Let's call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare.
Aho.
Okay, yes.
Would it be possible to get the questions they might have for the financial report submitted so that way you can research and get answers to answer them on the 19th?
Yes, if you have questions, get them to Treasurer Chapman and CC Jamie, and then they'll be added to the,
And also, I think if you would review Councilwoman Butler's questions from this meeting, she had several
My next question, 'cause that was
specific.
to the finance, the vision report, and that was approved. Do I do that with changes and then submit to the public? Okay.
Because I will note, Frank wasn't hired until October 7th, so I can have him there, but probably bring James along too.
Sure,
Because
yeah.
he wasn't here for the whole quarter
yeah,
three.
Penny and James, I mean, they
Yeah.
were both acting.
So, but yeah, we get those answers for you. And then anything over the whole
Right.
tribal budgets, let me know. We get those answers ready before the 19th as well.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, let's call for the vote. Oh, yeah, they did. Okay. Next item we have is item 14, open forum. Is there anything for open forum? Yes, Sherry. She's,
cool in here. Thank you for letting me be here today. I am in the process of trying to move down here. It'll be 2 years in January that I lost my husband, and I lost a lot of income when he passed away. So right now I'm an owner of 2 vans. One is a $67,000 silver handicap van that has been sitting down in John Vance dealership since the end of June because the transmission fell out of it, almost hit the ground. And it's the transmission they put in it, so luckily it's covered by their warranty from their so-called shoddy work. But anyway, I was wanting to know if it's possible, and I've been told that I should ask, when I was here camping with the Arikara reunion, I was the only one camping, and one morning before dawn, I went to use the bathroom, so I had to get in my blue van that I'm using right now. I went to use the bathroom, and then I drove back to my camp, and I was on a lane that I came around the arbor on the west side, and normally I came on the east side, but I came around the arbor on the west side, and I was in a lane I was thinking was clear, and there were 2 tree stumps there, and I hit the biggest tree stump, and it was dark, and it dented my bumper, pushed the bumper into my tire. It barely touched the tire, thank goodness. But anyway, I was wanting to know if there's any possibility that I could get that repaired by the tribe, because I went before the chiefs 2 weeks ago and let them know about that. I do know that one of the chiefs is the property person, and I told him that I just proved that that was a very hazardous situation. And I've had people tell me that those stumps should have been marked since they weren't removed yet. So I had damage done to my bumper. Thank goodness, hopefully that's all that's done. I did have somebody come and they took a chain, pulled the bumper away from my tire, so I'm still being able to have transportation. So that was one question. The other question I'd like to know is, do we have a tribal attorney, or is the Attorney General the tribal attorney?
The Attorney General is our tribal attorney, is the nation's tribal attorney.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking is a couple of years ago when my mother and older sister were living, we were going into a guardianship phase in our family, and my siblings and I were addressed by the tribal attorney. And so I was just wanting to know if there was 2 different people or not. Also, I come down here quite often because I try to support my cultural events. So I use a lot of money for gas because I travel 7 hours one way from St. Louis. And so I bring my twin brother, Jerry, and I'm sure you all know him. His legal residence is out there where my mother's house is. And so when I'm here in town, we go to Elder Mills. Well, as far as I can remember, and I don't know how long that door has been broke, but the handicap door on the Elder building does not operate. And I was wanting to know, when can that get fixed? And also, do you have a suggestion box? Because I would like to make a suggestion that when people from out of town come into town for cultural events, or if they just come for a visit, if we had a central bulletin board that could be, information could be put on there for what is transpiring for the month, it would be nice to know that information. And also, my mother's driveway has some severe dips in it, and I was wanting to know who I would go to see if there's any way I could get help. The problem I have right now is that I don't think there's anybody on the deed on the house, so I don't think we can get funding from the housing programs. I'm not for sure though, but my mother left in her will everything to my older brother. He passed several years ago with no will. I hired a lawyer to be prepared for his probate hearing. We were in the COVID period at the time, so it was a phone call. The judge was out of Albuquerque, and all he did was deem who my older brother's heirs were. And so I feel that because my twin brother, when my mother was put in a nursing home for dementia, he qualified for low income, and so we put him in the house there. And at the time, he was highly independent. He worked, he drove a car, all this stuff. But his health has declined because about 4 or 5, 6 years ago, he fell and broke his hip there at the house out south. And ever since then, his health has declined, and so I've become his full-time caregiver. So what I want to know is, I went to the courthouse to see if I could find out if there was a name on the deed of the house. They didn't even know where the house was. So I went to housing on Friday. Nobody was there working. So that's the only reason why I'm here, because I want to try to find some answers for some things. And I was in the process of buying a house here, but it hit a wall, and I decided I would pull my offer because the family that's selling the house is in a family fight, and it's probably going to go to court. So I don't want to be in the middle of the winter trying to purchase a house and move into it. So I'm planning to try and move out to my mother's house, and so I can continue taking care of my twin brother. And so I would appreciate some help on some of these answers maybe. But I've been wanting to see if somebody could address that handicap door, because I pushed my brother, when my husband and my brother and I both got COVID, Jerry was the only one that did not get medicine. I had to fight for 2 weeks for my husband to get medicine from the VA. I didn't wait. I went to an urgent care place and paid $200 so I could get COVID medicine, because I was the caregiver for both those people. And I couldn't afford to get severely sick. So anyway, brother is now uses a walker in the house because COVID affected his balance. He became incontinent. And when he's outside of the house, like if I take him to the doctors or something, I use a wheelchair because it takes too long for him to walk to wherever his appointment is. So it would be, I think it would be good that this door to the elder building get addressed. Most people don't worry about that because they're not taking care of a handicapped person, but I am. So I'm asking for your help. Any way you can help me to maybe see if we could get that door fixed. Okay?
Yes.
So thank you for letting me ask these questions, and I appreciate it.
Is it a question? Yeah, I know. Okay. If you will leave your information with Brian, because you have about 7 issues, and we will get with those departments needing to address those, and then have someone get with you. And then in the interim too, our ED can provide you with his contact information so you can get the status on that.
Okay.
Because just coming to mind, there are some departments and some applications that point out to us, but we want to make sure that, everything is covered.
Okay, I appreciate that. And when I addressed the chiefs about me hitting that tree stump, I told them I proved that it was very hazardous. And 2 days later, after I went to the campgrounds, they were removed. So I'm grateful for that.
Because, property will need to get with you on that, and also to find out, for insurance purposes, what needs to be done. So they'll be in touch with you.
And the reason why I'm asking that, like I said, I lost a lot of income when my husband passed away. And for those 2 vans, I pay $1,900 for 6 months insurance. And my silver van has been out of commission since the end of June. So I had to find other insurance because I can't afford that. So I would appreciate any kind of help.
Okay, yes, we will definitely
All
be
right.
in touch with you.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay, anything else for open forum?
So we have some questions on, oh my goodness. The online questions. So Mr. Steve Campos asked, what type of marketing, advertising, and partnership is TDC utilizing to drive and grow year-over-year revenues? And why not allow Taro to develop a construction company for the tribe? Would ordinances allow it? His next question is concerning Taro. The Taro ordinance was amended a few years back. Has the legality of those changes been investigated? As I recall, only recommendations of commission could amend, not the ED and AG as it was. What exact changes were made to the Taro ordinance between 2017 to 2024? And could TDC job terminations of Pawnee tribal employees have a process to have Taro compliance officer investigate and approve or disapprove terminations, or to validate? And those are all the online questions.
Well, can you repeat the last?
The last one is, could TDC job terminations of Pawnee tribal employees have a process to have Taro compliance officer investigate and approve or disapprove terminations to validate? Or the reason behind terminating, maybe?
Okay, all of those will have to be investigated. I mean, there's not a quick answer that can be had right now. It entails looking into the regulations of the Taro Act and then also the TDC bylaws, and to make sure that, yes, they are our entities. However, there's a hierarchy within that organization. There's articles, and we can't be overreaching, but we do understand the concerns. So that's, unless there's a specific question, we would have to look into that and provide a response at a later date. It's not anything that can be answered right at the moment. Anything else from Open Forum Council? Any announcements? Yes, Councilwoman Butler.
I keep mentioning this. I know I mentioned it in the last 3 meetings. Monday is the city council meeting, and it's our request for the name change of Main Street to Pawnee Nation Street will be on the agenda. We should get a determination that day. Also, Native American Heritage Month. I know the Princess Committee's been working on a lot of things for Heritage Week, but there are a lot of other activities that are going on. I don't know if Jamie has any of those readily available so she can announce those, but that's a huge thing. Anybody can join those, employees, council, tribal members, if you're available to join those events, especially during Heritage Week. We love to see all the pictures and stuff come in, and we like to post and stuff on the Princess page. Our Princess is down in at Expo this weekend, and she leaves today, but she was in the parade this morning, so I was trying to make it down there, but I forgot we had quarterly. Would have loved to have been down there to support her and to cheer her on at the parade, but some pictures and stuff will be posted of her activities that she's participated in the next few days. So just really enjoy watching her, as all our princesses. They have good representation, and we're just proud of them that they're getting out there and doing these things and types of activities and participating. So, but that's all I have.
Thank you. You didn't want to do the plug for election day.
And I've already voted. If you haven't early voted, you can still early vote today until 4, I think. I did early voting yesterday, but Tuesday is voting day, and just want to encourage everybody to get out there and vote. There are some state questions. I think there's like 2 amendments to the Oklahoma Constitution. Please read up on those because those are important. And then the judge questions, whether we retain this, is it the Supreme Court or the?
Supreme Court.
Yeah, there's like 8 of them on there. And then there's a couple of other things, but you know, just get out and vote. That's all we encourage is you get out and vote. We don't care how you vote. We just need you to vote.
All right, thank you for that. Okay,
Oh,
item number,
sorry. And then if I have some announcements as well. We have our November calendar of events out. It's on the Facebook page. But just for those who might not be able to see it on Facebook, we have a lot of things going on. The new enrollment office, they'll be moving this week. And so I believe they should be open tentatively in their new location on Friday, October 8th. So that people will be able to go in and get a CDIB or just go in and take a look at it. The Iritatuta Kitchusu, they're also having a focus group lunch and learn on Friday, November 8th at 11:30 at the community building. Saturday, November 9th at 9 a.m. is the Nasharo quarterly meeting, and they do that in Building 1. The Pawnee Nation will be closed on Monday, November 11th, but the veterans are having their dance noon meal at the Roundhouse. November 12th, the Cultural Resources Division is doing a intertribal, what did he call it? Cultural event where they're having the neighboring communities, tribal communities come, and they're kind of going to be sharing their customs and cultures. I believe he said he's got confirmations from Otos, Kaws, Tonkawas, Ponkas. You know, it's going to be a large group, and that will start at 10:30 at the museum. And then the Princess Committee, they're doing a kind of like a Heritage Spirit Week on that week of Veterans Day. It will start Wednesday, November 13th. That day will be wear your best native glam. So wear your best ribbon skirt, jewelry, shoes, whatever. This is kind of to pay homage to our contemporary fashion. So that way people can really have the chance to express themselves. Thursday, November 14th is Represent Your Tribe. So you can wear your Pawnee tribal t-shirts, hoodies, banners. If you if you're a princess, we encourage you to wear your princess banners on that day. And then Friday, November 15th will be Rock Your Mocks and a round dance. We'll be having a round dance at the Roundhouse. We're still trying to confirm the time, but we do hope that we can get a lot of people to come out and join us and dance and just have some fun. And then November 25th, which is a Monday, the Cultural Resource Division will be doing a hand game at 5:30 at the community building. And then flyers for the Intertribal Cultural Day and the CRD hand game will be out probably Monday.
all right, thank you for that. Lots of events coming up, guys. Okay, and the CRD hang game, who's challenging who?
I believe CRD just wanted to have a meeting of the community. It's kind of more like a inclusion event. We'll bring everybody back in and celebrate together.
All right, thank you. Okay. If no other announcements, we'll go on to item number 15, executive session. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to move into executive session.
Got a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion by Vice President Canuho, second by Councilwoman Butler. Let's call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare.
Aho.
12:12.
So can I exit out of? I got it on mute.
I got it on mute.